What is up, beautiful people? Welcome to How to Trade, formerly known as the Midday Show. That is your girl Adara, and I am Sharif. And what a day we've got for you today. It's NVIDIA day today. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, a couple of trades before we get to the content. Maybe actually we'll wait for everyone to migrate on over from the other stream. I always forget about that now. I'm so excited to talk about something, and I'm like, people haven't migrated over yet. We got Pitchbull, baby. We got WBP. We got Patrick Langlois, Paul Goodson, Joe Doji. I like that name. B. Davis, Benson Yang, Futures Eddie, Stock Up, Hans Beer. We got Tim is in, baby. Darwin, Cyril. We got JC Finance, Papa Powell. Papa's in the chat. I'm down with that, Katina Man.
How was that sip right there?
It was good.
Really?
The Katina Man wants to know.
No, it was good. It was. It's a coffee with some almond milk and some honey, and it is pretty good. I just think I took way too much of a sip. I think the size of the sip was outstanding.
All right, we got everybody in the house. James Dell, Zoltan, Tom Brunch. We got Pillsbury, everybody. Sorry, we just had to digress there for a second. The Katina Man was asking Adara a question, so we had to pause for a sec. All right, guys, let's get to this trade on TSLA that I've got on at the moment. Double bottom galore here at this 191.40. Had me salivating, baby. Especially with the hammer candle that got put over on the right side of the double bottom on the 5. Let me show you exactly what I mean. Look at this. This said, no, you don't. We're buying you right back up. So that 191.25, 191.5-ish area absolutely defended, and we've rolled this up. But we are expecting resistance at this 193.25. And by we, I'm talking about me. I don't mean to put words in Adara's mouth. The reason is that's where VWAP is hanging out right now, 193.28, 193.25-ish area. So we were unloading this this position in front of VWAP, anticipating that we are going to have a bit of a problem there. All right, let's take out just some shares over here so we can update the position board. We're also in MNPR. Adara brought to you guys this one on the small cap recap today. Monopar Therapeutics has a headline, 18.75 million market cap, 5.8 million float. Took this bad boy on the $1 defend after breaking one. Then we came back in and defended one. I'm like, okay, this looks good. Got it on the back end, as my friend Neil likes to say, and we rode this bad boy up for about 30 pennies into 135. We have another order here on the other side of 40, but it does look like it's putting in a retracement. I don't want to be quick to pull out everything from this though, because it's continuously making higher highs and higher lows, so a bit of an upward channel. So if I can pack my patience on this name, maybe I get rewarded. We'll have to wait and see. MNPR up big on the day, 120%. Nothing to sneeze at there, baby. But yeah, this Tesla trade, MNPR, the only two that I've got on. How's your morning been, Adara?
My morning has been great, thank you very much. I have no trades as of yet, but right now I literally have just been going through every single semiconductor looking for an opportunity, because I don't know if being NVIDIA is going to be right for me right now. However, I do have an NVIDIA thesis, which I would like to talk about. So I think it's pretty clear. I've been using the 3-minute for NVIDIA, because if I'm going to trade NVIDIA today, it's going to be off the 3, because we know I'm scalping. And I just think that's going to be more conducive for better scalps for me in terms of how it's moving today. However, you can see it on the 5-minute as well. I think we might be having a bit of a roundy, a little frowny face. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Because we had these highs and then we had a lower high. Now we're kind of slumping at the 777. So I might take a quick short scalp, but I'm going to have to do way more book watching before I get involved here. We're going to have to be librarians up in here, marking levels, being very cautious before we get in. But I like that NVIDIA thesis. Also, Meta, talk about missing the boat here. I love this Meta bounce off VWAP. If we get this again, I'm getting back in. Kind of a similar look to Tesla, only in that we had this candle preceding it to give you a really nice sign, like, hey, I think the sellers are kind of running out of steam. And then we had that nice push up.
When it comes right into VWAP and then the buyers really step in aggressively. Good call on that, by the way.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I missed it, but I think I like the look of it. But congrats on your Tesla and congrats on that Mano par. Very much an above par trade. And
right from the get-go, baby.
I got it. Thank you. Also, on that Almwala, before we get to the lesson, 729 AED super chat. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. Apple Week, but 184 is still possible. Weak. Is it the dead one? Let's find out.
It's the down one today.
Oh, it's also literally dead, because we're only at this. We're barely up on the day, so we're basically flat. And you know what? Honestly, from a range perspective, I kind of like the look of this. And I'm going to explain why.
Go.
So we had this very flattish bottom-ish. We had a little bit of a dip below at this 182.80, 85 area. We had these lower highs. Then we broke the flat bottom. So I don't really have any levels in this right now, but earlier I think this would have been a really nice trade. My only thing, though, to get back to 184, I think we'd really have to see a huge reversal here that we haven't seen. And I say that especially because we just broke the flat bottom. I think if we go up and especially because look where we had all that consolidation around VWAP before we fell.
Very true.
I think a decisive VWAP break would be nice. And I think especially getting over these areas where we had all of these very bamboozling candles, to use a Sharifism, I think would be pretty key as well.
Yeah,
so
nice.
I think 184.
I didn't even notice the ascending wedge on that. Yeah, good call.
Thank you. I mean, I know it because I know you point these out, right? So learning from you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I honestly think that 184 reclaim is not necessarily impossible. However, it requires a lot of strength that I don't know if Apple has in it right now. That will be my diplomatic take on the Apple chart. And thank you very much for the support.
Absolutely. And I just want to remind everyone that we have a second stream, baby. This is a live view of the second stream, the other channel. It's got the Katina Man's positions on the right. It's got the Neil's positions on the left, their entries, their exits, the names that they were trading. It's got the daily schedule, what Fed is going to be dropping what lines at what time. It's got the top stocks of the day. You've got the ticker on the bottom with the headlines. This is good to go. I'm so happy to have this channel. I just want to remind everybody, if you're just joining us, this is the one that you got to get on, Bears versus Bulls. We'll put the link for this channel in the chat, but you have to subscribe to our new account, which is not even new. It's one that we already had. It's called More Trader TV. Make sure to go over there, like, subscribe, and get on this channel. And if you don't have another monitor, well, maybe a good trade today would help secure that second monitor, baby. Or if you want to use virtual windows, which is what I use over here. And that's how we're able to flip to this Tesla trade. There goes Tesla through VWAP. Now the question is going to be, can we hold above VWAP, or is this just going to be a quick wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, and then we come down until that 192, 191.5 where we were before? We're going to have to pack our patience, find out exactly what Tesla's doing on the day, but that was a beautiful looking double bottom there on the one. The MNPR trade coming back though into my into this 120 area. Now I want MNPR to kind of hold up here. Reason being, this is the former area of resistance that we had at $1.20. So ideally, you want to see former resistance act as a level of support. It's not an exact science, it's a general area. So if it doesn't hold 120 exactly, that's not really what I'm looking for here. I'm looking for the general area hold, but if it comes in to my long at I got long 107, I'm going to have to cut the trade. I'm not going to let any part of this trade go against me, so the stop is going to get moved up. From previously it was under 1, now it's going to get moved up to 107. But I'm just going to send it to you real quick because I want to put in my stops, and then we're going to start the lesson.
Yeah, of course. We actually got another super chat as well, so I can talk about that. Thank you very much to Papa Powell. 199 from the Fed to the chat. No, I'm joking. But yeah, seriously, great name, and thank you so much for the super chat. We'll be talking about crisp like NVIDIA in weeks. Diamond emoji,
Dang.
money bag emoji. Yeah, CRSP was another one I know Sean was chatting about earlier today. I brought this one up as well because we had a nice volume pop, and so I was like, let's send it over. Okay, the CRISPR look right now intraday, we kind of fell off a little bit. We had a Scotia, the double top at this 5-minute 95. Then we had this candle of really showing that we did have these sellers overwhelming buyers. Now seeing lower highs. But in terms of the intraday look, let's see, because I know they had a massive earnings beat here.
Okay.
And I'm going to actually read out those numbers because I was like,
go for it,
in my seat when I read those. So, sorry, the earnings came on Wednesday mornings. This is a day 2 play. I want to clarify that as well. Although weirdly not super reactive yesterday, so I'm just waiting for my Benzinga to load, and then I will give you guys those earnings. But yeah, I think for CRSP, it looks like we are having a bit of a struggle at that 86 level. And I say that because, look, we had this candle. We ended up closing, we gapped up, then closed down on the day. Then we had a couple more candles, then we get back to this 86. So I think if we can successfully break 86, I think that'd be key, because right now it does look like a point of resistance. Other areas of the chart that are interesting to me are going to be what we were doing in November. So from late November to early December, a bit of a plateau at that 74. And then a much longer plateau around that 66 to 60 area. So I'd be really keeping an eye on those 2 areas. Yeah, so here are these CRISPR numbers. So we had EPS 110 versus an expected loss per share of 141 year over year. So And then for sales, coming in at 201.2 million versus the 101.63 million estimate. So good look for CRISPR. I just think from a chart perspective, break above that 86 could be pretty crucial.
Yeah, and I like this technology, by the way.
I know you're a fan of this.
Yeah. My cousin, she's got MS. And so she's looking at stem cell therapy, which is still in the super early stages, right? And so she was looking at other, like the gene editing stuff, and that's like, we're like in infancy. So she was telling me about that last weekend when we were hanging out. Yeah, it's a tough look, man. I mean, that's why I always champion these small caps that are going for, you know, the cure for cancer or cure for Alzheimer's or anything like that. Just the way I feel. All right, let's get down to business, baby. We're talking about day trading advanced concepts today. We're talking all week about trading terminology. So all we're really going to give you is words that we drop on the show or the big kahunas drop on the morning show. You know, if you're new to the trading world, they may not mean anything to you, and that's what kind of we're here to help explain. So let's start first and foremost. You hear Adara and the Katina man use this word a lot, scalp, scalping, scalpulation in Adara's words. What is scalping? Essentially, it is profiting from tiny, frequent price movements requiring lightning fast execution and tight risk management. So when you see the Katina man or Adara punching in, you know, a lot of shares, I know Adara trades with small shares, but the Katina man trades with big shares. He's getting in, and he's in the dollar club a lot of the time, but a lot of the time, you know, he's taking less than $1 on those trades with big shares, and that's what scalping is. Okay, you're profiting from tiny, frequent price movements requiring lightning fast execution and tight risk management. The reason, obviously, tight risk management, you got big shares, it goes against you, you're in a heap of trouble. So you definitely need to cross your T's and dot your I's when doing this type of trade. The other one, swing trading. Shout out to the NOS boss and his crew over there at Trade Ideas. Swing trader extraordinaire. You won't see Michael Noss likely take a day trade. And, you know, rather than that, he'll probably look at a 3-day window to a 3-week window, maybe even 3 months. So in swing trading, you're holding positions for days or weeks, aiming to capture larger trends using technical analysis and patience. You need a lot of patience for this one. So basically, you're looking at the daily, the 4-hour, the weekly, and you're gauging areas of support and resistance, looking for patterns or whatever else other indicator you're using, and you're setting up a trade for, you know, a multi-day trade to a multi-month trade. And that's what swing trading is, okay? The other one is momentum trading. This is what I like. I like momentum trading. I like going with the trend. If something's up, I want to take it up. I want to carry it up. So essentially, this is riding trends aggressively, entering when momentum builds and exiting quickly when it fades. And so when you come into a key level, I don't know, like 800 on NVIDIA, there probably is going to be some selling there, right? I'm not saying NVIDIA won't break 800, but you're probably going to see some profit taking there, and that would obviously be a momentum trade, riding it from where it was yesterday. Hit it, Katina, man. What's going on? AMD high of day break. It's up 11 1/5%. It is now looking to rival NVIDIA percentage-wise. I mean, NVIDIA's 15.5. NVIDIA's 11.5. I mean, it's coming up. Hit it.
Go say the second stream is right.
Okay. What second stream? I'm not sure. All right. So that's what momentum trading is. It's the second stream is right. I thought you said the second stream is ready. I was a bit confused. Yeah.
I just want to make, because it shows me long 182.01.
Got it. Yeah, so if you're looking at the second stream, the Katina man's position is accurate. We had some issues with that yesterday, but you know, that's normal. And then there's also pairs trading, Ram. There is exploring price discrepancies between related assets, capitalizing on their tendency to move in tandem. So I just finished talking about this. NVIDIA shoots up on a huge beat. Well, AMD didn't report, but it's up 11%. So you got sympathy plays. Those are things that move together when you're pair trading them. But there are things that move in the opposite, right? So if I don't have one off the top of my head at the moment. I don't know if you have one. But things move inversely. For example, like we know that the equities move inversely with yields.
Yeah.
You could use Intel and the chips.
I was going to say Intel and the chips.
Intel and the chips today. So Intel down 0.5%, and the chips are all pumping up. Each and every chip name on microchip, semiconductor name on my watch list is green, for the exception of Intel. So it's moving counter a little bit today. So these are the day trading strategies. You got scalping, You got swing trading, momentum trading, and pairs trading. Questions or comments, Adair?
Yeah, no, I think what's really cool too is to touch on something Neil was mentioning earlier. Everyone's going to have their own kind of style of trading, and so I think that's a huge thing that I learned, and I think
so true.
That's something that's really important here that I think I'm kind of still discovering is when you try to trade in a way that you're not comfortable with or that isn't really natural to you. I think that's when you kind of make more mistakes, right?
Bang.
So I think. Obviously, it's going to depend on each person. I think in order to know what kind of trader you are, unfortunately, you have to fall sometimes, scrape your knee, get mixed up by that market. But then you put on a Band-Aid, you slap on a Band-Aid, and you get you're maybe a little bit more careful when you're riding your bike. You're a little bit more cognizant of what type of trader you are. And I think part of that too is understanding your personality, which was a huge thing as well that I know you told me right when I started. Like understand what kind of person you are, understand your patience, your levels of risk tolerance. Like I know Sharif, you like all the action, so the momentum trading and the pamp it. That's where you excel, right? And you've had a lot of those.
And the desk slamming. Don't forget the desk slamming, Adara.
A lot of those types of trades today, right? So, and I think part of that too is, and this is something you touch on as well a lot, is understanding some days aren't going to be really your day for trading, right? But you've got to roll with the punches.
True.
So
100%. Thank you, and that very insightful. And I think people want to hear from you because you're kind of in that boat where a lot of people are. You're I don't want to call you new, but you're relatively new. You're killing it, by the way. But I think a lot of people want to hear what you have to say. I do appreciate you adding color to that. All right, let's continue on here. We're talking now about some technical indicators. So we talked about some day trading strategies and the terminologies that come with that. Now we're going to talk about some technical indicators. So when you hear Adara and I say EMA, SMA, MA, moving average, or any derivative thereof, we're talking about the moving averages. And moving averages, essentially, it takes a window, let's say 14 days, 50 days, 200 days, whatever. It takes all those days, adds them up together, divides it by the number of days. So if you have a 200 simple moving average, you're adding up the closing print on all 200 of those days, and then you're dividing by 200. That's for the simple moving average. The exponential moving average more heavily weights the recent price action than it does the historical. So if you have a 200-day EMA, the 50 preceding days will be weighted more than the 150 preceding those. So that's what I want to know. So when you mention EMA, SMA, what's up, Katina, man? AMD is still pumping, baby. Here comes 183 on AMD. If you're following the Katina Man's trade, keep your eye on the chat and load up that second stream, baby, because you're going to see his positions in real time. All right? So moving on with the technical indicators, we also have VWAP. And some people hear this in the chat as BWAP. No, it's V, as in volume. Volume-weighted average price. What is volume-weighted average price? It's where the majority of the volume, the majority of the volume took place at a certain price. So that's what you're looking at there. And it's one of these indicators that we're often using. It's white. It's the white line on my black charts, the black line on my white charts. And it's one of the most often used by people on the floor and by day traders everywhere. And hedge funds use it plenty because Michael Noss was telling us the traders at hedge funds, they're judged, basically they're graded on how well they did to pick up a position based upon where they are relative to VWAP. Are they above VWAP? Are they below VWAP? If they're below, they get a higher score. If they're above, a little bit lower. So VWAP used by day traders and used by institutional money. So make sure you're using that and you know what it is, all right? The other one there is MACD, moving average convergence divergence. This basically helps us judge and gauge the momentum of the market. I'm not going to go too much into the technicalities, but when we say MACD, that's what we're talking about. Moving average convergence divergence. Hit it.
Wow, it's a cash register.
Forget about 183, baby. It's 183 and a third now. 183.50. It's on the way up. Shout out to the Katina Man continuing to print on AMD. RSI, the other one we're talking about, relative strength index. This is not, a moving average style indicator. It is an oscillator. And oscillators basically, they flourish, they shine during periods of market consolidation. When the moving averages are not working, we typically switch to oscillators. But it's basically, in a nutshell, this judges oversold and overbought conditions. So anything above 70 is set to be overbought. Anything below 30 is set to be oversold. Very rudimentary explanation and not the way I use RSI, but I just want to know I just want to apprise you guys of that. If you're new, RSI means relative strength index. All right, and then there's risk management stuff that we got to talk about. right? So we hear a lot about position sizing. You know, you hear me talk about it, Adara, the Neil, the Katina man, everybody, even Obi. Essentially, here, when we say position sizing, we're allocating a calculated percentage of our capital per trade and always trying to avoid overexposure. So it's how much you can calculate it in share size, you can calculate it as a percentage of your account, your general, how much money you have in your trading account, et cetera. So you can do different calculations based on that. And then there's also the risk to reward ratio. I heard Sean mention risk to reward ratio this morning. He doesn't use it. He's not using 1-to-1 because he uses bigger size, and that's not his cup of tea. But here what we're talking about when we say risk to reward ratio is if I'm looking at making, let's say 3 pennies, then I'm going to risk 1 penny. So I risk 1 penny to make 3, or I risk 1 penny to make 2. So if it goes against me 1 penny, I get stopped out, right? So I've risked 1, maybe trying to make 2, trying to make 3. That's what we're talking about. How much you're risking versus how much you anticipate your reward is going to be. And you're going to ask me, well, how am I supposed to know how much I'm going to make? And that just comes with experience. You know support and resistance and what to expect, okay? So that's risk to reward ratio. When we say diversification, we're talking about spreading your trades across different assets to mitigate risk. So if I want to get into a trade today on a microchip name, I may want to take a different trade as well in case the microchips really go south for whatever reason. They're not going south now, obviously, but the whole point is here to diversify. I'm not talking about diversification with respect to your investment portfolio. I'm talking about diversifying your trades so that you don't have too much concentration in one asset class and take a bath if it was to go south. Questions or comments, Darren?
Yeah, no, I think too, both of those have a lot to do as well with planning your trades in advance.
Bang. And
I think that's something that, you know, as for someone like myself as a new trader, this was certainly, and I'm still new, this is absolutely something I struggled with. I'd punch into something because I thought it looked cool. I remember I punched in once in NVIDIA at 499. This is before we had decisively broken 500, being like, oh, well, we're so high. Yeah, no. And that was it was a mistake. But
right.
That's, you know, and that's also because I panicked while I was in that trade because I had no plan to exit it. I punched in all willy-nilly. So that's why really you need to think about your risk, your reward, potential profit takers, potential stops,
right.
And, you know, how much you want to really give this trade, because I think that's where really you can kind of, I guess, grow as a trader. I think that was what I found anyway.
100%.
So yeah, I think it's really helpful.
I just want to mention MNPR real quick here, Dare, before we continue on with the lesson. It's coming. Look, I wanted this to hold up at that $1.20 to $1.15. Okay, because this was the previous area of resistance, and I wanted the comeback to actually hold up at that area. It doesn't look like it's gonna. I got long 107. I think the right thing to do here, if this breaks 110, I'm going to move up my stop even more from 107. I'm going to move it up to 110 because I don't think this is valid if it's breaking all these key resistance levels. Maybe we'll re-up at $1 if it makes its way down to $1 or maybe even $1.05. If it shows me the right things, because that's where VWAP is at $1.05. So I'm just going to send it to you real quick while I move up my stop, Adara, because I don't like the way that MNPR is starting to look at this level over here.
Yeah, no worries. I also can address the super chat we just got from the Hayes Records. Thank you very much for your support. $1.99 super chat. Con scalps to IWM bounce, 127 to 170 in 30 minutes.
Bang.
Gorilla emoji. And yeah, I see what bounce you mean. That double bottom there at IWM. I'm also in this IWM short, but I want to talk about the super chat first. This 198 1 bounce was fantastic. Talk about a double bottom. We kind of got down there, fell up with the swiftness, or fell up. Went up, rose with the swiftness very nicely here. And yeah, you're right, in a matter of minutes there as well. This is a 5-minute chart, so exactly about 30 minutes. Congrats to you. Wonderful look here on that bounce. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, whenever you're done.
Oh, yeah, sorry, yeah. Yeah, I guess I can talk to you about this short. I got in this short, lower high. I'm going to be watching, scalpulation. I'm going to be watching what we do at VWAP. If we take VWAP down with the swiftness, I'm going to be taking this out around this earlier area of top and churn, that 198.50. So that would be about a 50 penny winner. I don't usually like staying in the ETFs for too long, but I think, we're not really at all reclaiming this area, so I'm pretty comfortable with being in this trade. In terms of risk, we're going to see what we do with that 199.10. Should we get back up there? So that's my take. Oh, and Sean's running away with some money.
Someone just ran in front of the screen with a whole barrel of money. All right, 194 TSLA. We just got printed on the 194 break. We're long 191.84. Let's see how high we can get on Tesla. So I'm going to start looking here at 195 because that's where we topped out initially. So Tesla continues to pump off that double bottom extraordinaire, man. This is I'm taking a picture of this double bottom over here because we definitely need to use this double bottom looking chart on one of the lessons in the future. I think it'll definitely help. So 194 on TSLA, just got the print, looking now for 195. Let's see if this can squeeze. We were looking initially at VWAP being the top over here. We did get some initial resistance at VWAP, but we continued to pump. So we'll see how this one ends up going. And I've now moved up my stop, by the way, on the other one, NPR. All right, risk pattern recognition. That's what we're talking about, right? Yeah, pattern recognition. So the first one we want to talk about in terms of terminology for pattern recognition is that head and shoulders, baby. So the head, I'm not going to bother showing you, well, maybe I can, a head and shoulders pattern over here. Head and shoulders pattern. Here we go. Let's pull up that bad boy. And so essentially what we're looking for here is 3 triangles with one triangle higher than the other. With one triangle higher than the other 2. So you have the left shoulder over here, you got the right shoulder, and this is what they call the neckline. So the point where you're actually supposed to take the trade. So once this makes another crest over here and then comes back down to that neckline, you're supposed to take the trade in and around there. And this is a trend reversal pattern. So typically what precedes this is a move up, and the head and shoulders pattern is basically indicative of the trend coming to an end and us to move downward. All right, so that's what we say when we're talking about head and shoulders. We're talking about this pattern over here. There's also triangles, and Adair just finished showing you a triangle. I think it was on Apple.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. So triangles, usually you have either a flat top or flat bottom, and then a diagonal line to connect to it. And so that's all that is. And triangles basically are suggestive of breakouts in either direction. It really depends on what preceded them. So that's what triangles is there. And then we got flags and pennants, baby. This is basically signaling a continuation of the current trend after a pause. But make sure you are back testing all these, obviously these patterns that we're talking about here if you want to use them live, because you definitely need to know how they arise and what they look like IRL instead of just what we're showing you here on the program. All right, that is it for now for the lesson. I just got stopped out of MNPR as it did break that 110 area, so we got filled at 108. And so 1 penny above our entry. So nice trade here on MNPR. I'll definitely be looking to re-up on this. If it proves to me it's going to hold up above $1 and start curling back up again. But now, right now, giving up the ghost. Tesla is on the way up. It's still negative 1/3%, but it just broke 194. Like, it's no problem. Got up to 194.25. Let's see if we can get to 195. What's your look there, Adair?
Yeah, my look is still, I have this IWM short. I got in, like I said, lower high, and I waited a little bit to watch the tape as well, and the book. So we were kind of chilling in here, wasn't doing much, spiked back up to 199.10, which, as I said, was either going to be my make it or break it level. So I added a little bit here because we took that 199.10 with no, it was like a, yeah. So I added a little bit there, DCA'd. It was a planned DCA because it was going to be, I was either going to add or get out based on how we reacted. So I did add. We're going to be taking that out there as we get to VWAP, as I said. But now that I have more of a position, we might be able to, kind of have some pieces for the dream after VWAP, perhaps. But definitely getting at least some of it out by VWAP. I also had a really brief meta trade as well, which was basically kind of getting in on that dip. So it's kind of harder to see on the chart. I'm going to see if it's more visible in the 3-minute. But I was noticing on the book, we had a little bit of stagnation once we got, oh yeah, you can see it on the chart. Okay, perfect. So I got involved in that dip here at 485. Took it, part of it out at 485.50. Then I was watching the tape. We were really having a hard time at that point getting to 486. So I got everything else set at 486. 485.60, mind you. Then we had this nice pop back to the upside. Honestly, if we keep seeing these dip buy opportunities at the VWAP and the 9 EMA, and we're getting close to one right now, I might get back in this and just scalp it to previous levels of resistance and support. That's going to probably be my look coming into the day for Meta. Also, I think it was Joanna Brewster in the chat saying Amazon's looking weak, and I wanted to pull up Amazon because I haven't looked at Amazon much today. But yeah, I see what you mean. Like certainly lower high here. Bit of a bottom at this 172-esque. We're up on the day, but we're not really doing much. You know what I mean? Like even Apple was giving you a little bit more room to jump around than this Amazon. So I totally see what you mean. I think if that flat bottom breaks at 172, this one could get interesting indeed. Right now, though, very much just focused on monitoring my IWM trades so we don't get IW massacred. So that, you know, that'd always be a nice time there. Also, Nimit asking about Roma. Will it stay above $2 to rally? Yeah, let me see. Roma is not one I typically look at.
It's above VWAP.
Oh, it is?
And yeah.
It actually, it doesn't look, you know, I can't promise it'll stay above VWAP, right? Or at above $2, mind you. However, I think it's a good look. Higher highs, higher lows, and it is cradling this 9 EMA very nicely. We've continued to see this bounce throughout the day. Let me look at the daily here in terms of potential levels on this Roma. Oh, okay, there's not much here. Yeah, no, I think honestly, basically just based on this 3 minute, I think as long as we don't make a lower low, it's probably a pretty decent look there on Roma. I'm going to be trying to get out of this IWM though.
Yeah, I can take over.
We're getting slightly dicey, but yeah, I think Roma, as long as you keep seeing higher highs, I don't think it's a bad look there.
Yeah, yeah, okay. So we'll have a look at the small cappers. These are the only ones, sorry, that I had on my chart today. I'm seeing some more come in right now, like this CLDI. So we'll put CLDI up on this bad boy over here. This one may halt. It looks like it might halt at $1.11. Be careful with this one. We'll give you details on all of them in a second. CLDI, let's put in the ticker real quick. And now this one is halted at $1.11. I'll tell you the tap real quick here. CLDI. Yeah, I see Tesla's climbing. I see it, baby. I see you, Adam. Yeah, I don't have the tap, sadly, right now on CLDI. It's not showing up on my platform. So once I get that, I'll let you know. But there's CLDI. There's Roma. Shout out to Nimit for pointing that out. There was this one earlier, too, but this has given up the ghost now. All LRHC. What is this again? LRHC. This is La Rosa Holdings, $44 million market cap, 4.5 million share float. This one, not good because it made its high at 845 and that got to 625 and we didn't even come close to breaking the pre-market high. We're not above the pre-market high. We're not above VWAP. This one, not tradable for me, staying away from it, but that's the only other one that I have. Then MNPR is the one that we printed on, but it came in, broke my level at 110. So we're gonna have to let that one go. But hey, if MNPR gives me another opportunity later, I'm gonna be all over that. I'm gonna keep my eye though on this CLDI trade possible here after it opens up from its little halt there. So we'll keep an eye on that stuff. Tesla is absolutely pumping to the high side. Shout out to Adam. And Adam and I are disappointed a little bit today because Arsenal played in the Champions League yesterday.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So listen to this, Adara. 90 minutes of soccer, right? And then there's added time, the time that you waste in between. So there was 4 minutes added. Like when the ball goes out, someone gets injured, yada, yada.
Stuff happens,
yeah. So they added 4 minutes. The other team scored in the 95th. So there was added time on added time. And then the other team basically scored with like no seconds left, and it was just a heartbreaker.
Oh, that's hard to watch.
Yeah, man, it's so frustrating. So that was the look there.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, it's all right. You know, I'll live. But
happy to hear that.
ALDI was called ALDI? CLDI. I'm just going to give you guys the short float on some of these small cap cappers. Negligible on CLDI. No, CLDI. There we go. Yeah, it's about 2/3 of the float is shorted on CLDI. Sorry, 2/3%.
Oh,
excuse me.
Okay, I thought you were,
Thank you for catching that. Yeah. CLDI is 2/3%. This one is 1/3% on MNPR. So that's nothing as well. Let's look at Roma. Roma, 3.5% short float on Roma, and then LRHC. We have 0.14, so negligible, really negligible amount of short floats on these bad boys. But there goes Tesla to the high side, baby. 195 incoming. We're at 194 1/3. I'm going to put my beak wetter. The last beak weather that I have sadly here on TSLA, just in front of 195. Tesla on the way up. Pumped. All right, let's see what people are saying here. Crap stock. Hey, bro, hope you're well. What's your thoughts on trading NVIDIA with small size? 10 shares can still give great profits on a mad run with very small losses. I couldn't agree more with you, man. And I don't think your share size has anything to do with anything. It's just about getting the reps, knowing your entries, knowing your exits, and knowing where to take profit. Trade with 10 shares, trade with 5. I completely am on board with that thinking. Jared Tweedle. Why don't any of y'all trade SMCI? Such an easy trade most of the time. I'll tell you why. Personally, I looked at it today. I really did, because it was in sympathy to NVIDIA. It's just I can't stomach the spreads. They're like sometimes $1, and you have to understand we're not trading at home with our own money. There's people that we have to answer to over here, and if we take a bath on this trade, they're gonna be like, why the hell were you getting into a trade with $1 spread? I'm not saying that they're going to prevent you. It's not blocked on our system or anything, but you have to be able to explain yourself. And so I'm just speaking for myself, not speaking for anybody else. Abidun, can we talk about Netflix? Absolutely. Let's pull up NFLX and have a look at that bad boy. I haven't really looked at Netflix on the day. Here's the 5-minute look on Netflix, up on the day nicely, 2 1/5. Coming into that 586 top here. Is that all-time highs? Let's go to the hourly. No, so all-time highs was on the 16th. So it looks like we opened up at 9:30. We got to that 597, almost broke $600 on the 16th, but that's the all-time high. So I would say, with respect to Netflix on the day, if this one keeps pumping, look for that 590 top. That's where we topped out on the 16th after that open. That was a bit of a top there, so keep your eye on that. Yeah, it's a $10 level as well, so psychological resistance as well as the technical level. NFLX, I like it to 590, possibly on the day here. Future Eddie, SMCI, bro. I just finished talking about it. I can't believe this thing, man. This thing is up 25%. It's up to $924 today. It's unbelievable. Yeah, there's nothing really much to say about that. Dollar spread is too much, says Adam. Yeah, it's big. It's a big spread. I mean, you want to trade it at home, obviously nobody's going to say anything to you about that. It's just, to me, dollar spread. Jeez.
Yeah, and I mean,
what is it on Lily usually?
Lily, I was going to say, because I feel like I can't comment because of Lily, but Lily's usually is not, I've never seen it near $1.
Okay.
And I wouldn't touch it if it was near $1. Usually Lily, most I've seen 50 cents.
Okay. Well,
yeah, I would say, at least on our platform, right? Like usually for Lily, the spread is going to be around 25, 30 pennies, but let's put our money where our mouths are and look at the Lily spread right now, because I've not looked at her yet today. Oh, and she's got volume of above a milli. Okay, this is actually, Adara, you shouldn't have looked. This is a good look here. Higher highs, higher lows. But we do have right now, I shouldn't have spoken because the spread on this right now is about 45 cents. So,
okay, so that's basically what you said.
True. That is basically what I said.
Yeah.
50 cents max.
Yeah.
Okay, I feel a little bit better, yeah. But usually I find too, if it does get that wide, it'll pretty quickly correct. So even as we've spoken, that the spread's tightened about 10 cents. Someone in the chat as well was asking, what does a dollar spread mean? And so that means basically it's the space between the bid and the ask. So here I've got the seller here, $774.10. Well, it keeps moving. Then we have our buyer at around $773.60. So if that was the same, now it's about 22 cents, right? So it's the bidding price is minus the asking price.
It's a difference. So if you buy at the ask, so say, what was the ask right now?
So ask right now is $773.60.
So you pay $773.60 for 10 shares, and then you immediately have a change of heart and you want to get out. And you want to get out, but the person who's willing to buy is not willing to buy at the price that you paid. Rather, the highest bid is the bid. And so that difference between how much you paid versus how much the other person is willing to pay, or any other person on the bid, is the cost of doing business there. So you get in and you want to get out immediately. That's how much it's going to cost you with no profit whatsoever. So that's a spread. And so you're going to say to me, Sharif, well, why would I get in and have a change of heart? Well, you have to understand, I mean, the spread is not just for people that want to panic sell and get out. It's also when I put my profit taker the bid has to cross above that profit taker. It's not just that the ask has to cross above it. There has to be someone willing to pay that price. So it's very important to understand the spreads on a particular stock. It's one of the, the basic things that we do in day trading.
Yeah, and I will say as well, that's one of the things that makes me the most stressed out when I'm trading Eli Lilly. Shout out to Lolo also mentioning Netflix spreads, because as someone who used to regularly trade both of those, sometimes at the same time, I can tell you it's really, you have to really place, sometimes I would even be putting my offers in between the bid and the ask, because it really just requires a lot of finessing that it's a little bit unnecessary. It gives a little bit of sticky situations. And I remember always being shocked when I get filled in either of those, which is like maybe not what you want as a day trader when you want liquidity. So yeah, shout out to Lolo for that, because that was the other one I was thinking about. Also very, very similar in terms of how they move. Right now, I'm not in anything. This meta is still deeply enticing to me, but I missed the dip buy, so that's okay. We're gonna let it rip, and next time it dips, maybe we will take a swim into the pond with it. Maybe we'll slide into the DMs, hit up the Zuck. How is this going?
Well, we're almost at 195 Adair. We just topped out here at 194 mid-80s. We're long 191 mid-80s. So this one continuing to pump here. We only have one more out on TSLA, so I want to get a definite 195 break, and then we'll wet our beak on the other side of 195. We'll see what we get here. This is why I'm aiming for 195. It really has a lot to do with this crest that we made at around, what time was that? 10:20, 10:15 or so. We topped out at that 195, let's just say in a third and a quarter, and then we tanked all the way back down to 191 and a third, and that's where we double bottomed. So let's see what TSLA gives us today, but it's been a great recovery off that bottom on Tesla, but it's Meta. Meta is an absolute monster. 488 possibly coming in here on META. Meta is like every day. Any day that this gets sold off, the next day is going to be a buy up day. Look at this chart over here, man. This is a beautiful look.
That's why I was trying to get involved in this party.
I don't blame you.
Whew.
I don't blame you. Great look today on META. It's just a matter of when we hit 500 bucks. I feel it's not if, it's more like when. Another 4% day for Meta here, and Zuck continues to print, man. He's pleased as punch right now. I mean, the dude's very, very happy. Oh, by the way, I got the Meta glasses, the Ray-Bans, the Wayfarers. I haven't put them on yet. I'm gonna bring them in for Friday, for tomorrow. Yeah, so we'll wear them on the show.
I'm so excited.
Yeah. I did receive them yesterday. My concierge called to let me know that they're in. I'm pumped, and we're gonna see how good they are. All right, so Zuck, you're on the spot, baby. Woo. But yeah, we're gonna bring those bad boys in tomorrow, Adara.
Yeah, we'll have to see if he needs to crawl back into the bunker out of shame. We'll have to find out. I'm excited.
Odyssey Fight says, I have them as well. They are nice. I'm pumped. Well, they were expensive over here, B. Davis. I got to tell you the truth, a lot cheaper in the United States. My parents are actually in California visiting my sister right now. I was thinking maybe to get them to bring it back, but the currency difference didn't make much of a difference. We're paying I paid almost 500 bucks with the tax. And so that was a bit of, bit of expense. Are those AR? No, they have AI built into them, so they'll do like image recognition and object recognition, but you don't have anything superimposed on what you're seeing like you do with the Vision Pro. So, no. The answer to that is no, James Dell. All right, Oxy, James Corns wants me to cover OXY. Absolutely. Let's pull that bad boy up. Where's my, there it is. Let's pull up OXY. Tesla's pumping. Here we go. Woo. Here comes 195 on Tesla. I'm just going to leave this because I only have one more out. OXY. What's Occidental been up to today? Okay, it's been strong essentially since the 15th. And we joke around on the show and we say the Uncle Warren level. And when we say Uncle Warren level, we really mean like that 56 bucks area. Look how many times we've dipped into 56 bucks since last May. All of them have been bought up. So it's like the Uncle Warren buying program comes on at 56, 55 and a half bucks, right?
I wouldn't be shocked if that program does exist.
No, I mean, we know he uses a buying program to get Berkshire, obviously not Uncle Warren himself. But yeah, it's a great look. The outsized move they had on the 15th continued subsequently to that. So the daily chart on it looks good off that 56 level. The intraday chart even better, up and to the right, really holding that 10-period moving average quite well. If you're buying any dips on the 10-period, it's that magnetic effect that OB was talking about. You know, when you're holding to an exponential moving average or a moving average, you seem to gravitate back to that, then bounce back up again. That's what we're seeing here on Occidental on the day, Ram Ram. What do you think about this chart, Ram Ram? She look all right.
That was the sound, yeah. I was like,
right? So we went green on the day when we broke that 60.5. So nice move up, only half a point up though. Let's see what we get at that 61. We're at high of day 60.87. Let's see if this one continues. Good move up for Oxy though, several days. Here comes 195 on TSLA. Some size here at the whole dollar level, be careful. And there goes 195 on TSLA, but we move right back down immediately as we do encounter resistance at the whole dollar level. Tesla now green on the day, up 0.1.
yeah, I mean, what a look on that market. Congrats to you. No stressla for Sharif today in Tesla. It's all BOVESPA. It's all green skies. Yeah, no, I think that's a really, really fantastic look there. Also, there is a super chat. I have a couple trades I've been kind of course, okay, this Microsoft's breaking my heart, but I want to get to this super chat first from Kenneth Choi, 199 super chat. Thoughts on GCT with an exclamation point. I like the excitement there. And let me look at GCT to see how I like this one. GCT, GigaCloud Technology. I really like the name. I like the look on the intraday. I like that we made a slightly higher, okay, actually, you know what? We haven't really made a slightly higher high yet. We're toying with that 34. I think a decisive break above that 34 and continued movement to the upside would be probably a better sign for GCT on intraday, because look, we had that really nice trend move up. Then we kind of see a slightly lower low, or at least about a match of that low around 33 earlier, right? So to me, a little bit of weakness, losing our pep and our step here a little bit in GCT in the intraday, but a nice look. Not seeing any catalyst on this one for today, but I know in Tuesday, apparently this one was halted to the downside.
Down.
So I'm going to see what our short float is here on GCT, because I think this could certainly be an interesting look indeed, and I think short float could have maybe something to do with this one's move. So market cap, so this is actually not really a small cap. $1.35 billion market cap, float of 17.38 million shares, 10% short float, so about 1.81 million shares are short, so not insignificant short float here. Let me look at the daily on this GCT. Okay, so that 34 area I was talking about maybe looks more like a 35 in the intraday, because look, we had that sharp move down, 2 candles. So we had a candle that closed here, then we had a candle that opened here at this 35. So I think that's super key. I think if we can really, push above and eclipse that 35 level, I think that would be really clear. In terms of other levels we're looking at, that 20 area where we had a little bit of a support earlier than that 22, those are both going to be of interest to me, and also this 26. So that was to where we fell on, where is this? This was on Tuesday when we had that massive move to the downside. That fall at 26, also where we had some previous pops up, I think that 26 area could be very key for G to the C to the T. So yeah, that's really the main, I think, thing on here for me for levels, 35 and that 26. So hopefully that was of some help, Kenneth, and thank you very, very much for your super chat. ARM, I'm in ARM right now. I want to talk about this ARM because right now we're not really strong arming the market. We're just kind of in this trade, but I want to talk about my thesis for this trade. And I was watching this one for a while before I felt comfortable entering. And why I felt comfortable entering, I'm going to zoom out. This is the 3-minute. Look at this kind of scoopiness we saw here. A bit of a frowny face. We had that move down. I was noticing, hey, we're kind of really having a hard time eclipsing this 133. Lots of chop and churn. I got involved at this 133.50 with the opportunity to add around this 133.25 area. If we eclipse that, I'm going to be getting out. So we're giving ourselves about 75 pennies of risk. But also why I like that level in terms of potential entry and or leaving the trade is look where we had previous resistance. Support becoming resistance. It's always going to be interesting to me. I like this trade thus far. Oh, we already got filled. I didn't even notice. So that's nice too.
There you
It's
go.
always nice when you don't even notice you're getting the little fill well there. The ducks are just dipping their own beaks. No, I'm joking. I had to put it in. But yeah. So we just got another nice drop here. I'm gonna have to probably get the rest of this arm out. But yeah, it looks like broken arm a little bit. Hopefully continuing to the downside. Again, I think just the lower highs were of interest to me. And yeah, we're going to have to see how this trade goes. Meta also falling, so there could be some other short opportunities in the horizon for the Meg 7 for me going forward.
Yeah,
how are you doing?
I'm trying to pull up NVDD because everybody's yelling about it. We don't have it in our system. Neil, do we have it? It's not pulling up on my system. NVDD on the NQ. No. Okay, so there's several ETFs here that are inverse to NVIDIA. There's 1 time, 2 time, 3 time bear. I'm not able to pull it up, so I'll look at it on my my platform. I actually pulled it up on my platform, Ram. Ram was like saying something, but yeah, I did pull it up on my platform. Let me pull it up over here for everybody. No, she can drop hot lines if she wants. The Chilean nightmares jokes.
He's bullying her.
Yeah, he's trying to gaslight her. NVDD, this is the, so the fund seeks daily investment results before fees and expenses of 100% of the inverse of the daily performance of NVIDIA. So that's what NVDD is, and that's why, for whatever reason, we gapped down, obviously because of the big move up. But, looks like we could be curling here. I don't know, off that 1359. You're not going to catch me long going here. I just want to tell you guys that there is an inverse ETF. So if you wanted to play NVIDIA in a different way, this is another way of doing it. But I got to tell you, the volume on NVDD, kind of suspect for me. 538,000 shares. I mean, it's not a glowing endorsement of liquidity here. Let's check the spread on it right now since I can't pull it up on the other one over here. So the spread, 2 pennies at the moment. So showing 13.69 and then 3 pennies, 13.72. So the spread is not too bad on this name, but the liquidity is still a little bit suspect. So I'm going to have to formally decline to trade.
I like that you formally. You're going to be respectful. You're like, yeah, no, thank you.
Well, yeah, whatever. Right? Yeah, it's all good. Tesla rejecting that 195 for now, coming back into that 200 period. Somebody asked me in the chat, he's like, dude, do you have an out on NVIDIA or on Tesla, or are you just, living the dream kind of thing? And I'm like, look, I got one more out. There's really no point in putting it in. Let's see where this bad boy goes. Obviously, it retraced about $1 off that 195 top, came back into 194. Now it looks like it's making its way back into that 194.5 again. We'll see what TSLA provides here in terms of opportunities. With respect to the futures, we didn't mention anything about the NQ, so let's have a look at the NQ over here. Multiple topping tail candles in and around this level over here. Kind of a random area to have this level, 17,981. So say 17.9 3/4. That's where the majority of the candles are topping out at. Not a level that I would have anticipated us having resistance at, but nonetheless, that's what it is there. I thought maybe we'd get something at 18,000, a little bit closer to there, but not to be. For whatever reason, we're putting in the top set here. But when you look at the overall pattern on the NQ today, you're seeing a succession of higher lows, right? So that initial low that we made at the open over there at 17,864, subsequent to that, the trough there was at basically 17.9. We held 17.9, and it also happened to coincide with VWAP. And now we're putting another low, maybe possibly here at 17.950. It still doesn't explain why we're getting all these candles in a bit of a random area here on the chart. Not an area I would have earmarked for a technical resistance level, but we'll continue to watch what happens here on the future. Obviously, a big move up in the aftermarket yesterday, compared to where we were at the close. So shout out, to the Katina man. His banner's there, so make sure you're watching the Market Recap Show.
Yeah, definitely watch the Market Recap Show. Watch the podcast as well, where you've got Brendan and...
The other channel is in the chat, Adara.
Oh, it is?
Yeah,
Let's pull
more
that up.
Trader TV Live said hello. Is that you, Ram? Or is that the Chilean Nightmare? Oh, we don't know. We don't know who it is. But the More TV Live is in...
There we go. And there's also like chats happening here. There's so much happening in this dashboard, actually. Shout out to Bears versus Bulls, killing it with both. Oh my gosh, like so active everywhere here. So congrats. Really happy with this. And it's really, nice to see this in the chat. And yeah, shout out to our whole community. really cool innovation there with that more Trader TV Live.
Sorry, can I just cover one more thing
Please
for
do.
Nimit? Because he wanted me to look at RX. I'm going to have to allow pre-market action on here because this is a small cap gapper. So show outside of regular trading hours. All right, here we go. So this is a good look here, Nimit. I'm not going to lie. It's up only 16.5%, but the chart pattern looks fantastic here on RX. Let's just put in the ticker. I'll give you the details on this first and foremost. $3.1 billion market cap, so not a small cap gapper. The float, 195.5 million shares, so quite big. Let's look at the short float now on RX. And the short float is big, Nimit. 25 1/5% of the float is shorted. So that's fantastic. So this one could absolutely go parabolic if the right conditions are met. Let's see what it does. I personally wouldn't want to get it at these highs. I'd want a 14 defend, right? Maybe just in front of 14 a bit. Look at what it did with VWAP earlier. Clearly respecting VWAP here. All the dips into VWAP all got bought up, and then you had that move up to test the previous high at 14 3/4. Now we're down to 14 1/3. I don't want to pick it up at a random level. I'd like to pick it up at 14 where the whole dollar is and VWAP is. So that's my look on RX. In fact, I like it so much, I'm going to put it on the side chart with the daily movers. Sorry to interrupt you, Adara.
No, congrats to RX for getting a coveted spot on the side chart, because I know you, in all seriousness, I know you are very particular about what gets to go on the side chart.
Yeah.
So go RX, one of NVIDIA's little buddies, giving it a little nice burst there. But yeah, in terms of, I'm still in this IWM, or not still, I got out and re-entered. So in terms of this earlier, because I didn't really get to talk about the exit on this, I de-risked part of it when we got into that 199.20 area. Then then we fell, so I just got the rest out for a teeny tiny little profit here. Now, why I re-entered this trade here was because I was seeing a bit of a double top. I think it's a situation of waiting to get it on the back end, as Neil does like to say, and I think that's a real deal, a real point. And I think that was my issue with this earlier trade. I don't have very many shares here. I am gonna just all the dream is in this one punch in. So. I might add if we see this 199.15 hold, but right now I'm comfortable with what I have. Still going to be eyeing the same area, mainly VWAP. However, if we get that 199 area, I'll even take 199 even, because I know for whatever reason we've been having a struggle with 199, and that actually could have maybe something to do with the fact that we had this kind of chop and churn there earlier today, right? So pre-market, that was a level, kind of hanging out here around 8:30. And then a little bit as well, kind of where I was entering around that 11:15, 11:30 area. If we break above this 199.30 though area, I'm going to have to say au revoir. That's the main trend I'm looking at. I also got out of all of ARM as well. And Microsoft. So Microsoft was looking super rangy and then decided it was not. It was going to change it up, change the range there. Microsoft, I got involved at this 490.75, trying to take it to 410. And I think that's maybe clearer or cleaner looking on the 3 minutes. So there you go.
When everyone arrives thing. Hello, Neil.
Hi.
What were you eating?
My salad, man.
How is it?
It's a salad.
It's a salad. All right.
I don't have a mic about. I'm trying to watch the video, man.
I'll send it to you. We posted a new social media video. It's about when everybody arrives at the office. I'm sure you guys have seen this trend before.
Arrive.
Well, yeah. Well, how come you didn't get put in? You're like one of the first people in there. Okay. So it would be sort of dishonest to say someone would record you when nobody's here before you.
Sometimes it's Dara. It's 50-50.
Yeah. So you'd be here to record Dara. Did you do one? Yeah.
I did not do one.
Oh, you didn't do one. That's why. Okay. Well, that's all good. Yeah, I love these trend videos. So shout out Jad and Pedro, killing it over there in Paris, the new social media team. They will be on the show tomorrow. Make sure to catch them after Neil's lesson. What are we calling it again? I'm sorry?
The lesson of the day.
The lesson of the day with Neil. They're going to be on after that. Jad and Pedro, we had them on last Friday. The new social media team live from Paris, Adara.
Yeah, no, really exciting there. So yeah, very cool videos. Definitely check those out. Always doing different trends and different things, and you're gonna get to see them. You got to meet them last Friday, but you're gonna see them again tomorrow. So absolutely stay tuned for that. I added to the IWM because we had a really hard time with 199.30. If we have the decisive 199.30 break, I'm gonna de-risk and then say my goodbyes to this position. Just trying, to not get IW massacred, as I say. But yeah, Microsoft, to kind of go back to the explainer for that very short-lived trade, this is really just an example of risk management matters, and something fails, you get out. I really like this constant range we had for a while of that 490.75 to 410. I was just going to scalp this thing, right? Then we get below 409.60. So basically, I took, we gave ourselves 15 cents of risk. Again, still in the sim as well. Got out. No complaints there. Not pleased as punch, but you know, I'm happy I punched out where I did, because then we had that massive fall to the downside, right? So that's why my little risk management take on that. But yeah, I think that Microsoft definitely kind of continuing to move to the downside. If we break below that earlier area where we had that pop right off the open there, that 408.75, this could maybe be interesting. If we bounce off this area too, I might take this long right into that 410 I was talking about. But we're gonna wait and see. Again, participate, not anticipate, something that I am certainly working on doing. But you also don't want to participate too early either. It's a whole fun struggle with trading that we all get to live and learn and go through.
Yeah,
but
bang.
I mean, yeah, pardon?
Bang.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
But yeah, certainly no struggling in that Tesla. Yeah, how is the Tesla still
No,
going?
and neither is Nimit. If he punched into RX, I just messaged you in the chat, Nimit. Sorry, I told you to wait to 14. It's going without you. You never get these things right. To me, though, Ram, I have to choose an actual level off which, you know, to get a dip trade. I just don't like chasing, especially, I don't want to call this a small cap gapper, but it is a relatively unknown name that's moving on the day. So I was telling Nimit to wait to around 14. It didn't even bother getting near that. 14 1/3 is all it did, then popped up into that 14 2/3. So you're able to scalp out some money, but it looks like there's some downward pressure again here on RX as it comes back in to that 14 1/3, 14 1/4. We'll have to wait and see how this one resolves, but it definitely is setting up a potential move up here. Let's do some actual charting on the daily to figure out where to expect resistance if we do break the high a day. So let's bring in RX over here. Let's go to the hourly. All right, so we've broken through any of the local highs. That local high there from early Jan topped out at 14, so we got to go farther. That's the 4 hour. All right, so the 4 hour does show another area of interest over here, and that happens to be that 1650 area. Look at what we did last July, right? We topped out at that 16. If you want to go by the wicks and not the closing prints, it's that 1650 that we topped out at. So if we do squeeze above 14 3/4, and certainly if we squeeze past 15, I would definitely be looking to de-risk the majority of my position in front of 16, around 16.5. You also have this huge outsized day from early July. I believe that was July 12th, where we shot up on a wicking basis to 19. But look, we spent like no time there. Let me just show you exactly what I'm talking about. Look at that. These outsized huge candles that end up, you know, the body is like a third of the closing, the body of the actual candle is like a third of the entire length of the candle. It's mostly a wick, right? We shoot up to 19. So there's that level as well. But for me, it would definitely be de-risking in front of 16 or 16.5. Shout out to you, Nimit. Hope you print on it. He's waiting for it to cross $15 for the play bigger. No problem. I hope you print on it. Let me know how it goes. Let's check on TSLA here and see what that one is up to. There we go, right back up to the high near 195 on TSLA. We're going to be looking now to see whether we reject a second time off 195. It would maybe even be a third, because we didn't break Tesla. We didn't break 195 on a closing basis here at around 10:15. Yeah, sure, we got up to 195 1/3, but it was quickly retraced. So that to me is not a closing basis print. So it'll be a third attempt at this 195 area. Let's see, third time's the charm, and we're able to hold above 195 a day.
Yeah, no, I think this Tesla's a really nice look. Meta, though, is kind of doing a little bit of what might be a flat bottom break, perhaps. And obviously we're still up on the day, but why I say that is look at where we're having this huge issue with this. We have this 486.40. We have all these wicks to the downside, but we're seeing lower highs. I don't want to assume it. I don't want to get, like I just said, anticipate or participate, don't anticipate. Okay. So I'm going to have to wait and see on this. But I think I do find Meta deeply fascinating at this 486.40 level. And as I say that, we're kind of chopping and turning with it again. I'm not getting involved, though, till I see a little bit more confluence, because that's not my style of trading. I like the ranges, and I want a little bit more proof in the pudding before I say hi to Zuckerberg and join this meta trade. Also, yeah, shout out to Eduardo Severin as well, because he doesn't get any love, and he was also part of the whole Facebook craze. So I just thought about that too. Just shouted out Zuckerberg. I was like, we should shout out him as well. But yeah, so that IWM still cooking. I have nothing to report on that. NVIDIA falling down a little bit here. But for now, though, the bigger thing is going to be Neil's lesson of the day. So we're going to see you soon after that. Exciting times.
Welcome. Got the lesson of the day here from The Real Deal, and this one is a big one. I think personality tests are kind of a bit of a joke. It's not really my thing. I'm not going to pretend to be a psychologist, but if you're going to be a trader, you do want to at least understand what type of trader you are, and not just in the sense of your temperament, but the styles of trades that work for you. Because if you can understand that, then you're going to better be able to fit yourself not just into trading the right stocks, but trading the right setups and having the right risk plan. Because if you have a risk plan that goes against your personality, you're going to find yourself getting into a lot of trouble. So I'm not just going to talk about what the different types are. It's about how to spot them. It's about how to take advantage of them, and also how to limit your losses by understanding the type of trader you're going to be. So in the very first sense, every single person that wants to trade to some degree likes taking risk. Okay, so when I use the term risk averse or more conservative, it's all relative, because if you are a trader, you're already a risk taker. That's just it. So anyone that tells me, oh, this trader's not a risk taker, you're talking about on a scale. So if you're looking at that 95% of the population that isn't wanting to trade or take risk, if you're in that 5%, I'm just talking about the top end of that. Those are the risk taker types in trading. And if you are conservative or if you are a risk taker, you're going to want to understand which one you are. I know for myself, when I found out that I was a little bit more of a conservative trader. What does that mean? So the way to look for how that manifests is when you start your trading, what types of problems do you have? Are you the trader that finds themselves, oh man, I got stopped out there too early and look at it run. Oh shoot, I made money on that trade, but I took too much out too early. Or are you the type of trader that's like, oh crap, I just lost my entire week on a single trade. Oh wow, look at this winner, I held it all day long, I got the top and the bottom. Well, the latter trader is the one that is shooting that moon. That is your risk taker. If you're the person that's, I have a tight stop, I'm getting top wicks, bottom wicks, I'm getting jiggled out of trades, then you're somebody who is looking toward that exit a little bit more diligently. So if you can understand that, you can try to tailor your style around it. So what does that mean in practice? I'm going to show you some examples from today. Because NVIDIA has been absolutely flying around. What better place to go than the most active stock volume-wise today on NVIDIA? There were lots of ways you could have played long in NVIDIA. If you are a risk taker, then I promise you, you would have been looking long in that first couple of minutes in the melee and the madness. Why? Because that's where your biggest return was. So when we come to the chart here for a second, it's all about ridiculous gap up to the upside. Let's just clear the tape here. Like, it was a clear, obscene gap to the upside on earnings. You were holding higher despite it was like a $20 pullback at one point in the pre-market, and then at the open, you were testing the 740s, the 750s. If you like the long and were looking for it, there was a hammer candle breakdown right in here, and then a wicked bounce. Now, a trader who is aggressive, who knows that they're looking to get that big, massive move, they're looking for an entry to maybe risk 10 bucks on the trade and try to make 20 or 30. To them, it's going to be worth it to try to capture a move in here where a 750 break might not be wrong into the bottom. And then you're giving up $8 or $9 on that trade, but you're not sitting there, oh, I'm taking a bunch out in here, 55, 56, 57. Because if you're going to take a 750 break and get a bunch out here in 54, 55, 56, you can't hold it to 740, because then you're taking the bulk out for $5 or $6, but then you're going to lose $10 when you're wrong. So in that sense, you cannot be losing more than you win. But that trader that never has trouble holding, they always think something is going to the moon, they can take that aggressive stance of grabbing the longs on the way up, even if they're chasing that initial move a bit, because there's the explosive upside. Now myself, I know I'm a little more conservative. I'm looking for an entry where I can limit the risk and have a greater risk to reward. So I was waiting for a key price level to hold above that 765 level. I'm like, this is the resistance for the bulk of the pre-market. Once there's buyers above, I'm taking my shot within my style. 765 into the pre-market high. I know the trade I'm going for. I can get the explosive move. And the thing about trading is it doesn't matter how good your idea is if you're not going to actually execute and then hold the trade to your plan. So if I took a 750 break instead of a 765 break, if it wicks down to 745, I'm not actually holding that trade. So when it goes to 780 after, it's completely irrelevant to me. Because it could have been right, but I'll never win on that because I'm never going to hold it that far. It's just not my style. But the 765 break with a tight stop, I can do that multiple times. Risk under $1, multiple times there to grab that $3 to $7 move. That is something that I know I will be able to hang on to. So you've got to be able to find your spot, whatever it might be, because it's not just about finding the idea. If you cannot hang on to the trade, or if you cannot execute the trade when it comes to executing your plan, it's just never going to work. So knowing your personality matters. I'm going to give you another example here because this is one where if you are the type of trader, again, not like myself, where you are constantly holding trades, shotgunning, everything is an opportunity, everything is worth the big hold, then you don't have to be necessarily as patient for something like a Rivian play. Because if I'm thinking long bounce on Rivian, I need to find the exact right spot to get in by my style. So if I'm buying on the way down, like there's a lot of spots in here where maybe you could try to find a bottom, but there was never anything that gave a disciplined setup. The first opportunity did not come until 11:25. Rivian was probably the second biggest opportunity trading today, and if you weren't short, you wanted to have some kind of a bounce play long, you couldn't really do anything in my style until it got here. It defined a bottom, it held it, it then double bottomed it, and then that is my entry, where I know I can just get long in here with a really tight stop, and then the risk to reward works. If I'm going long all the way down in, I'm just going to be taking pot shot after pot shot, which could be okay. But ultimately, being a more risk-averse trader, you're almost waiting for that perfect setup. And if you see me in the live show, you'll notice I'm more often flat, I'm more likely to take profits early, I am more likely to be scanning for ideas at all times because I know I need to find that perfect setup with the tight risk to reward. On the other side of things, if you find yourself being an aggressive trader, here is what you have to be guarding against. There is no question about it. If you're an aggressive, every single trade is a home run, you need to be careful about your own bias. And I was talking to some traders about this in the morning. The aggressive, I'm holding for the moon, every idea is a monster trade. That type of trader is more prone to blow up if they end up being wrong. So if you have that style, watch out for trending stocks. Be careful, because the way I trade, if you're more conservative, looking for a curl on an AMD which is going parabolic isn't that hard of a thing to do, because I'm just going to stop it out really tight. Anytime I take a short, that's a short, tight stop, not holding against, no averaging in, tight stop, not holding against. So I'm shorting it multiple times and it's not costing anything. But if you are the other side where you think everyone is a huge win like that NVIDIA trade, well, you will find yourself, oh, I like the short, I like the short, I like the short, I like the short. And what will happen is you will be in your maximum position when you are wrong. That is a huge problem, because if there's one thing about trading that you have to adhere to, and it's just simple math. Your losing trades cannot be bigger than your winning trades. And the only way that that works out is if you have some kind of ridiculous 90% win rate. There are ways that that can work. If your algos can sometimes do that. There may be rare specific styles of trades where that works out to you, but it is just that simple. So if you find yourself as an overly aggressive trader, you need to be extra cautious of the trend and fighting the trend. Because what will happen is that stock that doesn't mean revert. If you're like, this is a short, this is a shorter, this is a long, this is a long, and it keeps going in the other direction, you're in trouble. Back in the day, I'll never forget this on my old trading floor with Sean. there were a couple of bank stocks where I promise you, if the office was making money long in this stock, and it was always BAC, if the office had done well in BAC longs for like a couple of weeks, if it had a down day, I would look at our P&L and I would look at our positions in the middle of the day, and every trader on the floor was trying to catch a bottom because they'd been making money on that long trade. And the difference was the guys that were the conservative style never had to worry because they were just in, out, taking small hits, waiting for their spots. But the bigger swingers out there always had a 2 to 3x losing day relative to their winners when that good stock was trending against them. So you've got to guard against that. Are you a risk taker? Are you not? Find styles of trades and entries that fit those. And then remember, you can only accentuate your strength and try to diminish or try to control your weaknesses. You will not change who you are. My wife's tried. You will not change who you are. You will not change the trader that you are overnight. You're not a robot. But what you can do is understand how it's going to get you into trouble and how you can avoid those blow-up trades, because it's just that simple. That's the real deal. What style of trader are you, and how can you take it to your advantage?
Hot lines with Neil. That's what that should be called. Thank you very much, Neil. Insightful and informative as always. Adair and I were just talking about how insightful your sessions are and how much we take away from them. So thank you very much for that. As Neil was dropping hot lines, we did get at a Tesla here as it did approach that 196, guys. I mean, I put an order at 195.91. It did cross into that 90 area, but then it dipped back down. So that ended up flattening here in the high 70s. And then I'm happy that I did that because it's coming down off that level again. Let's watch what it does at 195. And the reason I say let's watch 195 here is because we know from the previous price levels today that we danced with 195 3 times. Initially, we danced with it here at 1020, and then we did another dance here at 11:45, and then we broke it finally when we broke through there at 12:10 or so. So let's see now if 195 acts as a level of support. If it does, maybe we can weasel our way back into this trade. But for the moment, TSLA done, and we'll see what other opportunities the market gives us now. Zion Lala says, Neil Roberts, he speaks my mind. Neil, you deserve a Cowboys jersey from Sharif. I think he'd burn it, so I probably wouldn't get him one. Huh? He wouldn't burn it. What would you do with it?
Oh, I donate it to charity.
He donated it to charity. All right. He doesn't want that stuff in his house, right? It's like blasphemous.
No, I mean, legitimately, I wouldn't want it.
He wouldn't want it in his house. Legit. Yeah, he does not want that kind of stuff in his house. I don't blame him. I mean, you go to 2 Super Bowls, you get beat by Dallas. I wouldn't want to see the Bills either, right? If they did that, if they did to Dallas what Dallas did to the Bills, and they're look at her. Just teasing you. Neil, come on, bro. You set me up for that. Adam says, Neil Roberts, you are a legend. I hope the people in the community chat learn from your expertise. I would have to say, I would echo those exact same words. And Aaron and I were just saying that to each other off camera, by the way.
Legitimately.
Legitimately. All right, Adair, what do you got over there before we start the lesson?
What we have here is a partial fill, and by partial, I mean 1 share of this Microsoft short. And by that, I mean, normally we don't talk about like share sizes, but I just thought that 1 share fill was really funny. So I wanted to put that out there. So basically, I was trying to get this long here into VWAP, or into that 409.60 area. We struggled. So then I realized, hey, maybe it's a short off the EMA. That ended up proving successful. As I quote sometimes with 50 Cent / Kanye, go ahead, switch the style up. If they hate, let them hate. And watch simulator money pile up out of the simulator. But the point remains, right? So I like the long idea. Long didn't really work out. We have the short. Let's see if the remainder of these shares get filled here. But yeah, really, again, I was talking to Sharif off camera about this as well with regards to Neil's lesson that I found really insightful and important. Knowing your personality. And, Sharif and I were kind of saying, like, Sharif was telling me there's a lot of these types of opportunities, like what I like with this Microsoft, where we have really clear levels. There's a lot of these in the market. So it's just going to be about me trying to learn and find them and not trying to be a momentum trader, because every time I've attempted that, it has not worked. So yeah, I think just being, to quote Camp Rock, this is real, this is me. I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. So I think where I'm supposed to be is going to be these range trades.
I like it.
And I'm going to try to find more of them. So yeah, that's my 1 trade. Congrats on that Tesla and leaving the Cybertruck.
I appreciate it. Yeah, maybe one day I'll actually be able to see inside the Cybertruck, Elon. Yeah, all right. Trading terminology, that's what we're talking about all week. And today we're going to talk about some advanced trading concepts. Not really that advanced, but essentially what they are is words that you may not be familiar with and that are not part of everyday parlance. And if you're new to trading, I think this session will help you a lot because we use these words a lot on our show, and I'm sure the big kahunas use it on their show as well. So let's get right into it. So day trading strategies is going to be the first topic here, terminologies with respect to day trading strategies. And the first one, you hear Dara use this word a lot, scalping, scalpulation, and these are derivatives obviously of the same thing. Scalping though, very easy to define. It's basically profiting from tiny, frequent price movements requiring lightning fast execution and tight risk management. And in this particular case, you usually use it with a lot of shares and you take smaller profits. So if you get in 10,000 shares, you take 5 cents of profit, whatever. I'm just giving you a random example. Big size, small price movements, but you have to be good at risk management because you're holding so much size. If it goes against you heavy, you could really be in some trouble. So that's what scalping is, and that's what we mean when we say scalping. The other one is swing trading. If you watch our show Mondays and Fridays in the morning, you know Michael Noss comes on at around 8:45. He is a swing trader. His timeline is multi-day to multi-month. That's how long he's holding a trade for. He's not day trading like intraday like you and I and Adair, Neil and Sean. So swing trading, you're holding positions for days, weeks, or months. You're aiming to capture larger trends using technical analysis and patience. You'll hear the NOS boss look at the weekly, the daily, the 4-hour. He'll use things like RSI and some other technical indicators. So that's what Michael Noss does. He's swing trading, longer term time frame there. Momentum trading. This is what I like to pretend that I am, right? Riding, basically, this is riding trends aggressively, entering when momentum builds and exiting quickly when it fades. I like to go with the trend. You know, if I didn't trade NVIDIA obviously today, but if I had, I'd be a momentum trader because, you know, NVIDIA is pumping up 15 some odd % off that stellar earnings report. So that's what momentum trading is. You're following the momentum either up or down. Doesn't really make a difference. And then pairs trading. We talked a little bit about this as well a few weeks ago when we talked about different trading strategies. Basically, pairs trading, you're exploiting price discrepancies between related assets. They can move together or they can move conversely to one another. So the ones that have moved together today, NVIDIA and AMD. Have a look at both. NVIDIA is up 15 some odd %. AMD's up 11.5. AMD didn't report, nor was there a specific catalyst to AMD. It is moving in sympathy, moving because it's part of the same group of companies, these microprocessors, semiconductors that are now going to get into GPUs. And so that would be, they would be directly related to one another in terms of moving together. Some other things that could be inverse to one another, I'm trying to think of something specific. I know the Intel example was used, but I think that just by happenstance, I'm trying to think of an industry that moves inversely to one another. But if you're looking for something specific, it's when the market pops up, when equities are up, you'll typically see bond yields come down. So those two are inversely related. Rarely will you see the market up and yields up at the same time. That happens, but very rarely, okay? So those are how you pair trade. Things that move together or things that move inversely. And the way that you can actually trade these is you can use something called a basket trader. So this will help you put in multiple orders for the same thing, and then you can have your executions based upon one another. So those are the types of day trading strategy terms, Ram, that we use around here. Some of the technical indicators that we use, though, and we say a lot, are moving averages. So there's many derivatives of moving averages. There's exponential moving averages, simple moving averages, and then different time horizons. So you have your 7, your 10-day moving average, your 20-day, your 50, and your 200. And so these are all very important, both as indicators of trend, and they do act as support and resistance. So if you hear us talking about SMA, EMA, or MA, or moving averages, that's what we're referring to. They're all the same thing there. But exponential and simple are calculated differently. Make sure you apprise yourself of the difference. And then the other one is, you're going to hear this a lot everywhere on the show, VWAP, volume weighted average price. This is where the majority of the volume takes place at a certain price, and that's what you're looking for there, where the majority of the volume is coming in on that day. This is a very important indicator if you're a day trader and if you're a big money trader as well, because a lot of the big money traders that are buying and selling these huge positions are judged on their entries and their exit based upon where VWAP is. And so make sure to apprise yourself of VWAP and you know a little bit more about it. The other one that we talk about is MACD. I don't typically use it that much, but it's moving average convergence divergence, MACD. And this one helps gauge the momentum and the trend. So I'm not going to belabor looking at the details of it now, but just know that when we say MACD, we're referring to moving average convergence divergence. And then there's obviously RSI. I just mentioned this one when I was talking about Michael Moss. RSI stands for Relative Strength Index. It's basically an oscillator of sorts. It gauges oversold and overbought areas. So it typically has a scale of 0 to 100. Anything above 70 is considered to be overbought. Anything below 30 is considered to be oversold. I'm going to have to caveat that and say it's not so simple, and I would not recommend using RSI in exactly that way, but go and apprise yourself of what RSI is, and if you want a more detailed explanation, go back to Adair and I's lesson on RSI. You can just use the search in the YouTube page for Trader TV. So I want to point that one out. And then there's risk management terminology that we're using a lot. And so if you hear us talking about position sizing, it's basically the how much we're allocating to the trade. It could be based on share size, or it could be based on percentage of our account. We don't typically take percentage of our account here on the floor, but at home, that's how I used to calculate my trades. I'd be like, okay, I got a $20,000 account. I'm going to take whatever, a $1,000 trade, so I'm using 1/20th of my buying power. Obviously, that doesn't include leverage. So that's what we're talking about, position sizing there. And then there's also risk to reward ratio. This is how much you're willing to risk in order to possibly meet your profit goals. So if you were to get long Tesla, say 190, you're going to risk $1, so you'll stop out if it goes to 189, and you're possibly looking at making $3 a share on Tesla. So you're risking $1 possibly to make 3. The response I typically get when I say something like this is, Sharif, how do you know that you can make $3? And that just comes with experience. You're looking at trend, you're looking at support and resistance, and you're making an educated guess as to where this stock could go to, okay? It may not reach it, it may pass it and exceed it by whatever quantum. So that's what we're talking about when we're talking about R&R, risk to reward ratio. And then there's diversification as well. This is basically spreading your trades across different assets to mitigate risk. So if I was to trade semis today, say I got involved in an AMD trade, maybe I trade a counter cyclical. Like I think Neil was talking about PG. I short PG, Procter & Gamble. Right? Because typically the counter cyclicals are not going to do well when tech is doing well. That's why they're counter cyclical. Okay? So that is what I'm talking about there with respect to diversification. And then there's pattern recognition. We talk a lot about these shapes, these chart patterns, head and shoulder. It's one of the most loved ones because of the ease with which you can identify it. It's basically 3 triangles. The middle triangle is higher than the other 2 triangles, so the other 2 look like shoulders, and that's a reversal pattern. So typically when you see this, it means that the trend that preceded the forming of the head and shoulders is coming to an end, and it may be time to take profits or get short. And the inverse head and shoulders equally as valid. So if you see an upside down head and shoulders, same thing there. All right, and then there's triangles. We talk about triangle, ascending wedge, descending wedge, symmetrical triangles. Basically, they suggest a breakout in either direction. It really depends on the trend that preceded them. So you always have to look at the trend that precedes the triangle or the forming of a triangle. And then there's bull flags and bull pennants, bear flags, bear pennants, etc. These are continuation patterns. They continue the current trend after a brief pause, which is the pennant or the flag component where there's sideways movement for a bit. But like everything else we talk about on the show, You have to back test it, see if it fits within your trading strategy, see if you have the requisite tools to execute on these strategies, and definitely try your hand out first in the sim before you ever use real money. Adara.
Yeah, I like the way you said my name there. Yeah, someone who is in the sim, I do think it's really important. And again, kind of going back to the conversation you and I were having off camera, you know, a couple minutes ago. I think it is, you know, really important to kind of understand who you are as a trader and have practice executing that. As well, and I think, you know, all these kind of terms and knowledge of these can help. Also, I want to say something as well. So with regards to what you were saying about, you know, the whole risk and reward and the whole idea, how do you know how much you can expect to make? So, I mean, I like range trades, so that's kind of usually built in. Like, I'll kind of see where we are in the range and say, if we get at this point and I get in here, I can make X amount and I'm risking X amount. However, it's also worth noting, I think, too, with regards to the chart pattern, sometimes you can use those to help analyze risk. And, or sorry, not risk, but yeah, risk and reward. And so, for example, with bull flags, usually we say if we have a big move up and then we kind of chop and turn and then another move up, you can measure what that second burst might be by measuring how much we got in the first burst.
Yes.
So I think sometimes, not always, again, it's really going to be a case-by-case basis. As you said, you know, have your whole case before going to the court. You know what I mean? You want to make sure your defense 100%. Is airtight before you go to the judge. But I think, not a perfect analogy, but no, I think that's honestly, you know, like what Sharif says, balance of the evidence. The whole idea, Sean and Neil say this a lot too, make sure you're trading your own book. And I remember Bears versus Bulls as well in the chat at one point saying, like, make sure you have your reason to enter the trade. I think that's really key. And I think that even shows sometimes Sharif and I will both be in the same trade, but for different reasons.
Right.
With different theses, with different profit targets. And so I think basically what I'm trying to say here is I think a full understanding of all these terms can really help your trading journey, especially as you're starting.
Couldn't agree more. Well said. I wanted to point out that Tesla broke 196, and it touched 196 and a fifth. It's now come down a little bit below 196, so it looks like we did take it out early, but you're always going to be angry as a trader. You never, well, shouldn't say never. You may catch a top and a bottom every now and again, but I think it's definitely going to be the exception as opposed to the rule. So we take it out in the high 80s, no, high 70s. 195, high 70s, and it just made its way up another 50 pennies after that. So Tesla continuing to pump up off that double bottom at 191 and a third, and now it's looking maybe here to break that pre-market range. This is what I'm talking about over here on TSLA. So kind of moved sideways a little bit in the pre before the bell rung. This is it right here, and the top of this range was exactly where we topped out right now, this 196 and a fifth. There is a level above that, but it is from much earlier in the morning. It's around 6:30. That takes us to 197 and a quarter. There's a bit of a top there, but this is on much lighter volume, guys. Just to give, by way of example, the current 5-minute candle on Tesla, which just started, by the way, because it started 1 minute ago, we have done 113,000 shares on this one 5-minute candle that has 4 minutes left. By comparison, look at this big candle here at 6:15. This thing did 5,000 shares, right? So when I really mean the volume in the pre-market is super suspect, this is what I'm talking about, okay? So let's see if we can get into that possible 197 and a quarter on TSLA, but it's been a great look for Tesla. The other thing that I want to talk about, the future is on its way to 18,000. All right, 17,990 and 3/4. And we're putting in sequentially higher lows. Initially, on the IB low there, we got to 17,8 and 2/3. All right? So that was really the low after the bell. And then at around, what time is that? 10:45? Yeah, 10:45 or so, we dipped down, 10:50, we dipped down to about 17,9. All right? So that is another newer low. And then over here, at around 12 o'clock, we dipped into 17,9 and a third. So higher low, higher low, higher low, and then we got that flat top break for whatever reason we were consolidating at this area. And so it looks like we're on our way to 18,000. The question is, what do we do at 18,000? Is it a long, or are we looking for resistance there? So we're going to have to pack our patience and see. Currently, though, the high 17,990 and 3/4. Pack our patience with this bad boy, but the future on the way up, and then Meta as well. Meta and NVIDIA seem to be the monsters on the day.
Yeah, Meta is monstrous indeed. I'm trying to get back involved in this because I spy what could potentially be a flat top break.
Boom.
High, the same high of this 488 and then higher lows. I was kind of ranging this a little bit in here. Right now I'm trying to get involved at that 487.60. We'll see if I get filled. I'm going to be taking pieces out in and around that 488 and then filling when we get back to my level of interest. I probably either got involved too late or I set my point of interest too high at this point because it looks like the lowest that we've dipped to since was ironically where I took that really small scalp earlier. So it looks like I would have been fine had I just stayed there. That's okay though. No regrets. Only moving forward. Where is the next trade? As Obi says, if you are involved in this flat top meta break, congrats to you. I mean it. This is a fantastic look.
Bang.
And I'm still, if there's another opportunity to get involved here, I'll probably take it. A couple of stocks were being mentioned in the chat that I want to talk about. So someone was mentioning Rivian a while ago, and Rivian, a great one to look at. Oh my God, down 25% now. Whew. Yeah, I did not even realize that. Rivian, yeah, earnings, definitely one that makes sense to look at. Massive move down here. Then we formed a nice little bottom at 11.10, a bit of a double bottom here. Then we're trying to curl back up to VWAP, but we rejected. I want to see another test of VWAP. If we fail VWAP, I would maybe scalp this in and out of the range with a lot of share size. The only issue, though, is it's probably going to be like a 10-cent move. And maybe I've been a little bit too spoiled by my mega caps, you know what I mean? So I don't know if I'm going to be, if this will really be my type of move. But I think if we fail VWAP, I think it could be an interesting short. Other than that, though, really nice curl here. Not really a roundy face or a smiley face, but a nice little bottom at this 111. We're trying to curl back up to. Yeah, those earnings were, just going to make that face because those earnings were rough. And as Sharif was saying, yeah, the lack of growth there, or the lack of projected growth for the EVs is pretty rough for Rivian. So not a great look, although they do have that R2 coming out March 7th.
Yeah, and that's, you and I were talking off camera too, and I said to you, is it going to be one of those, things where he under-promises and overperforms? He tells you, oh, we're going to produce the same amount of cars in 24 that we produce in 23, and then the R2 drops, and all of a sudden that number gets revised, right? And all of a sudden maybe Rivian's worth double what it is right now. What's it trading at? It's trading at 11.5. Maybe it starts trading at 25 once we see some R2 numbers or some projections or some pre-orders or something. So we'll have to wait and see what we get. But I found it a little bit suspicious that he guides the same amount of cars produced this year as last year. I mean, really no growth in 1 year. We'll have to wait and see. Obviously, the other side to that is the interest rate headwinds, right? His thing was the same thing as Elon said. The interest rates are too high. You're paying 8% to lease a car, to finance a car. People don't want that. It's out of their budget. So obviously we've been talking about rate cuts this year. Now with the higher CPI print and PPI print coming for January, we've kind of kicked the can down the road a little bit. Kick the can down the road with respect to interest rate cuts. But I heard a little bit of a tidbit this morning with respect to that January CPI, PPI print, that it may have kind of snuck through the cracks with respect to seasonal adjustments with respect to price, because obviously there's a lot more, there's a lot higher prices in January because you raise prices from the December discounts that you're giving for Christmas and for Black Friday and stuff like that. Usually that's supposed to be adjusted in the CPI and PPI, but sometimes it sneaks through. So we'll have to wait and see if we get a similar February print to the January print, or the January print ends up being an anomaly. So going to be super interesting there. What's up, Katina Man? Long Meta. The Katina Man is long Meta, and I think I'm going to have to take that with him because we've been watching Meta the entire show. Meta is a rocket today. It is up 4 1/3. It doesn't even have news, right? There's no specific news.
Not that I could see, no.
It's because I got the Meta glasses, that's why.
Oh yeah, it's you alone.
Yeah, of course. I'm
I'm
delusional.
going to check news on Meta here, actually.
What is the news on Meta? No, there's nothing really here that I see on Meta, to be honest with you. Everything is skyrocketing, says Kevin Mendoza. Thoughts on Mara, says Mr. FYF. I gotta tell you this, Mara's not one that I watch too often, but we'll have a look at it. Is Patty Ice there? Yeah, he is. Patty, what are your thoughts on Mara at the moment?
It's at the same price, $7 less than it was when Bitcoin was at the same price.
He said $7 less than it was when Bitcoin was at the same price.
Last week, so
Same thing as last week. So what are your thoughts on it right now? Bullish or bearish or indifferent?
I'm going to be a little bit bullish on it, I'll be honest with you.
He's going to be a little bit bullish. I like that. Okay. Patty Ice, just so you know what's going on back there, Patrick only trades Mara. He's only looking at Mara from the beginning of the day to the end of the day. It's kind of like what Obi did with Amazon. That's why I'm asking Patty about it. He's always got a good take on Mara, and he just swung trade this for I don't know how many percent, how many dollars. He's up big on it from last week. Shout out to Patty Ice, baby. But yeah, this is a good look on Mara. I mean, like you come back into that key resistance level or support level at 23 bucks, and you hold up. Right, so now it looks like it may want to start curling. We had a lot of action at 23 initially before we broke down. So right there, when we pop up into 31, you want to see it hold on to the previous area of support. So I like Mara. Let's see what the rest of the day, what the rest of the day brings Adair.
Yeah, no, there's so much to look at. I'm currently trying to get entry into a couple trades, but I don't think I'm going to be getting either of those fills. That's okay. For now, though, I want to talk about Amazon for. I think it was Zach Frack in the chat a while ago asking me my thoughts on Amazon, and I do have some. So I'm going to pull this up. I think it was also maybe Joanna Brewster, some other people in the chat had been mentioning this one earlier, and it was looking really weak. I initially said to this one, looks a little bit flat bottom breakish, and I said that because we had these lower highs and this very flat bottom of 172. Then we sprung up right at 12:05. Neil woke up the market there. Neil gave Amazon a nice little shake. Now moving to the upside, but we're having a lot of trouble breaking above this 173.50 top. If I would kind of probably wait and see here, I wouldn't want to get involved in this too early, but we've had about 20 minutes now of this chop and turn at this level. I think this could be potentially a short if we fail that 173.50. The only thing though is if it goes long, I wouldn't really know where we'd kind of be taking profits, but I think to me it does look kind of short. I drew these trend lines too to kind of show what I'm talking about here. Honestly, if we have that decisive 173.50 failure, I may get involved in this Amazon. Also, it looks like my meta got filled, and now we are falling on meta, so I may have to evaluate that trade, and I'm going to talk about that in a second because we got involved, so why not? So let's look at this meta. So, yeah, I like this meta because I liked the whole, this kind of, climb up above. I wanted to go, if we get back into that 488, the idea of resistance becoming support. It really did not. At all. We kind of fell decisively below. I'm going to be watching what we do here. As long as we stay above 487, I'm probably going to be happy staying in this trade. Not a huge position. The other name I just got filled in also for a long that I just wrote that ticker very incorrectly. It's like MSFRT. But MSFT, I like this because we have this casual curl to the high side. I also did really like that 409.30 level. Really, really small position, smaller than Meta, which I will probably have to get out of this Meta. But I like this Microsoft for now, and as I say that, this one falls a little bit too. Looks like the NQ might be falling asleep, might be the wrong time for me to have gotten involved in some NQ longs here. So we're gonna have to see how that's going. How are you doing over here?
I'm watching Meta. It's what I'm doing. I heard you talking about it. I totally agree with your analysis on it. I want to see what it does at this 486 level. It may not give me that opportunity. I may end up missing out, which is fine. Maybe we can get it on the curl. But I want to see what we do at 486. There were a lot of prints near this 486 level, all of which got bought up. So let's see if we get that flush down to key support and then maybe curl back up again. The Fuge did get into 17,996 Adera, that 18,000 point level, and that's why we got a little bit of a huadunk. I don't even want to call it a huadunk, but a retracement of sorts off that 18-ish area touch. But the trend is still intact, folks. Higher highs, higher lows on the Fuge. Just because we got to 18,000 doesn't mean we turn back here. We can easily take it. Let's just pack our patience, see if we print a newer low. That will be the decider for me if we print anything below this 17,937, 340. Sorry, 17,940 in and around that area. I just don't want to see a lower low below this candle over here. That's all. But Meta is the one that I'm very interested in at the moment. It looks like it's getting a bit of a bounce off 487 here, so definitely not coming down into 486 quite yet. This might end up meaning we missed the trade. And that won't be the first time. But I'm gonna watch Meta intently. This is the kind of thing that I like. This is the, it's up 4%, it's strong, it's showing you resilience. Every time it dips in, it gets bought up again. That's what I'm looking for here. It's just about getting it at the right level. We'll pack our patience here on META, see what we get. I was mentioning to Nimit, though, that RXRX just broke 15 bucks. Nimit, I think you're long now, my friend, because you said you were waiting for 15. Look at that squeeze through 15 on RXRX. This is a beauty today, up 22%. This is not a small cap gapper though, guys. This bad boy over here is big. It's like, I think, $3.25 billion market cap on RXRX. Recursion, yeah, pharmaceuticals. Did we check the short float? Yes, we did. It's 25.2% of the float of the 162 million shares is shorted. So this one could absolutely squeeze. It's just about a matter of where the shorts are hanging out and whether we squeeze them. Coming back down to 15 now. Let's watch what this one does, but definitely another one on my radar looking real good here at the RXRX, baby. Oh, Nimit says earnings for this name, February 27th. Today, this year's a leap year.
I know.
So we get the 29th this year.
I know.
Yeah.
Exciting times.
It's a good time to be alive.
Yeah, what a time to be alive indeed. Shout out to Drake and Future. And speaking of futures, the NASDAQ had that tank there. Yeah, so to clarify, I wasn't involved in the NASDAQ. I was involved in some of these NQ names, these mega cap tech names, and that's why I had my little moments of panic, because I really should have just deleted those fills if I wasn't watching them. And so I really thought, I watched this Meta bounce off that 488 a couple times there. It was a little bit too wish fulfillment-ish, but I'm out of this Meta now, about $1 out, which is unfortunate, but that's okay. Microsoft's still holding up for me though, because I was gonna give this to that 409 area. Look at that bounce off 409. I still don't love this position, mind you, but it's still within my kind of risk-reward parameters, so I'm okay with that. I will be taking this guy out around that 409.60. Should we get there if we break below that 409, I am outie. So Mr. Mems, thank you, Mr. Mems, I appreciate it. It's okay. It is what it is. Learning from every trade, that was a massive mistake. I have, that Meta thing was a mistake here, so oof. But yeah, that's okay. ARM short still looking semi-fruitful though. I was involved in this earlier, ended up working out okay. And my reason for getting involved in this short was, I think in the 3-minute, it shows a little bit better, but we had that curl here. You know what I mean? That 133. That earlier area we kind of touched and then fell back down. So I liked this because we had this nice little 133 curl. I was like waiting to kind of see if we'd peter out here. We did. Took it short, kind of just round down in here. Now we're continuing to see lower highs, lower lows. Next opportunity for a short here, I'm probably going to take it, but I'm going to wait and watch and see because I do not want to be too hasty because that's 100% what got me here on that Meta trade. That being said, though, too, I'm not going to swear off Meta here. If we see 487, if we see a more reasonable area to get involved, I will. I think the issue was I did get involved way too early. I do agree with Sharif's take there on that. Maybe waiting for that 486. Even if we, as long as we kind of see a recovery at that 486.40 for me, I mentioned, I think, that level earlier as well. As long as it's not like a lower low in the longer term, I might get involved, smaller position, just trying to ease myself back in. Because I've said this before, too. I find sometimes after having a bigger loss, a little bit harder to kind of, get back on and keep going, brush the dirt off your knees. But I think really that's what you have to do sometimes. And so I think if this Meta gives me an opportunity, I'm not going to say no. I might get back involved. That's the Tesla, too. I'm just going to look at Tesla because I haven't really looked at Tesla at all today. So let me look at, congrats to Sharif earlier, killing that Tesla trade. I think I saw some mentions of in the chat of that Tesla short, and that was a good look. We made that lower low. If we keep seeing lower highs and lower lows, I might range short this, but I don't have, I like to, wait for a couple more taps of the range in either direction because I want to make sure before getting involved. That Meta recovery does look nice, though. So that Meta recovery I might be interested in adding to my Microsoft. Amazon still chopping and churning around that 173.50 area. I'm so tempted to short this, but I do not want to count my chickens before they hatch. So yeah, it's been kind of a mixed trading day for me today. Had an okay trade on ARM, had a nice trade on Meta earlier, and then erased all of that with that most recent Meta trade. But that pop here, I might have to get involved in Meta 487. Just keeping my eye open, seeing what opportunities are present, because there's certainly been quite a lot to look at in this market, and just trying to make sure we take the advantage of the correct opportunities, not trying to do breakout trades. I think that goes back to as well what you were saying to me earlier, Sharif, too, trying to stick with the kind of trades that you feel comfortable in.
Yeah.
I don't know why I was trying to take that Meta breakout. That's not me.
Fair.
But that's okay. And now Meta's coming back into that 487. That's a more realistic level. Learning every day, folks. That's what I'm trying to do.
Bang. Fantastic, Adair.
Thank you.
Apple just broke through VWAP for whatever reason, and if you've been watching Apple today, you kind of know that it was doing the dance here with VWAP And it was not a successful dance if you're long, because all the wicks in the VWAP, all of them without exception, sold off. And you made that 182.46 low that we made here around the start of the show, around 11 o'clock. And then there, Apple goes breaking through, waking through 183, first of all, and now on its way into 183.40. So this is kind of interesting. I don't see anything here on my blotter to really account for this move here on AAPL. Is it a secular move or is the market pumping? Well, Amazon's pumping, okay, but that's it. I mean, the future is near 18,000. We didn't give up the ghost on 18,000. We're back at 17,990, so we're inching closer to that 18,000 mark, so maybe that's it. But I don't see anything happening on NVIDIA. Tesla's kind of topped out for the moment. It's really Amazon and Apple at the moment that are really pumping. You're not seeing anything on Softy or Google either. And Meta, obviously, Meta is the beast, but it's not at highs. It's about $1.30 off the high at the moment. So this could be a nothing burger here on AAPL, and we could retrace the entire move. But I just thought I'd mention it on our way to 183.5 here on Apple. Apple just late to the party, says Mr. Fife. Yeah, you could be right, my friend. We are crushing it on overnight swing on AMAT. Shout out to you, my friend Andrew Ditter, printing up a storm there on AMAT. Well, the chips are all pumping, baby. AMAT's up 5 1/3. ASML got an upgrade today, didn't it?
It did
get an upgrade. Yeah, ASML also up 4 1/3. So the chips save and accept for one, and it goes by the name of Intel. Down 1% for whatever reason. Everything else on my blotter is green in microchip semicap world. So we'll see what we get the rest of the day. But I've got nothing on at the moment. Let me start looking at my small cappers. Katina, man, what are you looking at over there?
There's a Meta long, AMD long right here.
He's still holding that AMD long. He's still holding Rivian short, and he just got into that Meta trade. So we're definitely going to be looking at Meta here because it is holding up at the 20. Let me just show you exactly what I'm talking about here on Meta. So I said 486 on Meta, but that was, I don't want to call it a pipe dream. It was based on this action over here. All these wicks bounced off 486. So I was looking for another possible 486 touch to defend that same level we've been defending all morning, all afternoon, whatever. May not give me that level though. Right now it looks like it is finding support at the 20. The 20 on my line, on my chart, guys, is the yellow line. So you see yellow on my chart, you know that's a 20 period EMA, exponential moving average for all the newer traders out there. And we just went through all the definitions. Adair will be going through them again in about 10 minutes or so. But yeah, Meta looking awfully good here. I'm probably going to have to weasel my way into this trade here, Adair, so I'll send it to you for a sec.
Yeah, I weaseled my way back into Meta. And, you know, I have to say, like, as much as this is, you know, I'm going to say it's a small victory. I'm pretty proud of myself for this because I did have, you know, and this is something, you know, Sharif talked about. It's always the worst when you get bottom wick leaving a trade.
Oh.
Absolutely felt that on that Meta. But you know what? As Jay-Z says, dirt off your shoulders. As Obi says, where's the next trade?
Bang.
So the next trade for me was, like I said, I was watching that 487. We held 487, and I've been talking as well about that 480, 650. So if we broke below that, that was going to be my out. And I took out part of my profit here, or because I still have part of the position in, at that bottom of this chop and churn area here earlier. Why? Because I like the whole idea of resistance and support. This is a huge thing I've learned. That was what I was trying to do with Microsoft earlier to mixed results. Also, with regards to Microsoft, I just got out
Bang.
Because we were, it wasn't, you know, we were about like 10 pennies. Like I said, it was a small position, just kind of feeling frustrated in this trade, so I just left it. Again, maybe the risk management there for leaving was a little bit mad. I'm definitely willing to accept that, but it was just not a trade that was doing a lot, and I was really worried I was going to kind of forget I was in it. So we just cut that one loose. Andrew Ditter, $2 super chat. Love the Mara Focus team. Great info on the show. Exclamation point, exclamation point. Thank you very much for the super chat. So happy for the support. Yeah, I think, yeah, really appreciated. And I think, too, you know, my little read on Mara here, like I said, I find it very difficult. I want to use like an old man finger caveat here, the grandpa hand. I find it very difficult to rely on chart reading when it comes to Bitcoin adjacent or crypto adjacent stocks because I know that they're going to be more, you know, Mother Bitcoin is going to be really.
I just saw Mother Market back there.
You saw Mother Market?
I did.
How was he doing?
He's good. He was eating food.
That's good.
Shout out to, and he wanted me to tell everybody that he didn't come up with that. It was a different person. He gave me his name, but I forgot he's a big trader,
That's
big
good.
time
Yeah,
trader right now.
Shout out to Obi. I just know because he uses it.
I
so
love
thought
it.
that was
Yeah,
cool.
for sure.
But
I
yeah.
was like, all I hear is mother market this, mother market that. He's like, I didn't come up with it, man. Shout out to the Ob, the one, the Canoe. Adara, we got to 18,000 on the Fuge. We're 18,003 right now, HOD on the Fuge. I'm long meta now with the Katina Man. We got in there at 42s. Now we're touching 50s. Let's see if we can make our way back up into 88s. 488. Shout out to all my Asians because 88 is a good number in the Asian culture. So we're going to wet our beak possibly here at the $0.75. Let's sit at 74. See if we can take some profits in and around there. But Apple just rejected off that 183.50. So it's on its way up possibly here through the $0.50 level. I'm talking about AAPL, which was sub VWAP the majority of the morning and afternoon. All of a sudden got this midday random pump. Probably has something to do with this over here. 18,005. We are now back above 18,000 yet again on the NQ. And, you know, after that PPI print, you could have said, you know, we may not see 18,000 for a little bit of time until we can get this inflation or the next inflation print maybe for February in March. But there we go, 18,008. We're moving up here on the futures. It looks like we are taking 18,000. We're going to see whether we can hold this level. We'll watch to see if we do the wick shimmy dance from the top, not from the bottom, to defend that 18,000 level. Lots of unanswered questions currently. Right now on the market. We're going to have to pack our patience and see what we get. All right, we're crossing here on META at the $0.75, but the bid-ask spread, the bid-ask spread is a little wide. It always is on Meta. Even when this was trading at $200 and $300, it's always been a little bit wider, I've noticed, on Meta than some other names. I don't know if anybody else has noticed the same thing. Have you? Okay, yeah. So Meta, a bit of a wider spread, so you're going to have to cross here on the ask to get filled. I'm sitting at 74s waiting for that print. It's going to fall off the cliff, Logan Gaming says. I hope not, man. Huh?
I just got filled at 74.
So did I. So did I. No, someone's saying there.
How did we have the same price? Like, I was sitting at 74 when you said 74.
Really? The Katina Man also got printed at 74s. I don't know. There you go, Katina Man. I like it. Hey, man, if I can think like you, I'll take that. I'll take that any day, right?
I looked down, I'm at 74.
I literally got printed at the same time, yeah.
Oh my God, I got 74s out on Meta?
Yeah?
Me
you
too.
didn't get 74s, did you?
Yeah. It's funny because I was thinking 74 and then I realized, hey, they're also saying 74.
The
And I
Katina
was
Man's
like,
tripping. The Katina Man's tripping.
what is happening, guys? For me, it's also
Ram
at
got
74.
printed at 74s. Let's go, Ram. All right. There we go, baby.
This is such a great time.
I'm having a good time today,
it's
better than
so
yesterday.
fun. Yeah.
We're moving up here on the Fuge. Let's see if we can break 18,010 a day, a new high day right now on the Fuge, baby.
Yeah, I just can't get over the 74s thing because I was thinking about switching to 74 because initially I was going to go 99s. And then I hear, and I'm like, switch to 74. Then I realized, oh my gosh, everyone's thinking 74 in this on these desks here. But yeah, I got out entirely of this position. Like I said, like I was really trying to learn from that conversation with Sharif, being true to my style as a trader. Sharif and Sean, they're going to kill those momentum trades, killing the breakouts. It's just not really what I'm comfortable with. And so that's why I kind of decided, you know what, Adara, you got part of your position out. So you know what's really funny? You got in at 42. I got out at 42, my first
Did
part
you
of the position.
actually?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Anyways, yeah, so that's the meta trade. I'm not going to belabor it other than to say, everyone's going to have different styles, and I'm trying to learn that and be more comfortable with that. And also, shout out to live trading at Trader TV Live. Will the team be back tomorrow? Which is a great Mara pun. Will the team be back tomorrow?
Oh, wow.
And, I hope we will. I think we're all planning on that. But yeah, I just saw that now. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Mara is a hot stock these days with the fact that crypto is pumping, this, that, and the other. Maybe we'll have Patty Ice on to drop some hot lines about Mara from time to time. I know people will like that, and he likes being on. There we go on Meta. We're on our way to 488, baby. Pump it, Katina Man. Someone's in the dollar club. There we go on Meta, 4.25 as we come back into that 488 level again. Shout out to the Katina Man, good call on that one. And we ride that up with the Katina Man. Here comes 488.25. Meta is printing, Adara.
Yeah, congrats to you guys. That's a fantastic, fantastic trade. And yeah, what a move up here. Like, Whoop, it continued. Like, I think that flat top break took a little bit longer than expected. I was thinking we were going to break here. That's okay. Took one more
Bang.
push. Congrats to anybody involved in this meta. Nothing meta about this trade.
Let me look.
We're going to talk about the lesson in a bit, but first, Zeta's saying, why are we not talking about SMCI? It's exploding.
It is,
And you know
but
what?
it's
Yeah,
scary.
I apologize. We're going to pull this up. 30% to the upside. And you know what? I have to say, clean trend.
15.
Cash flow to the upside here. Like, what a look up here. Just kind of stutter stepping on that EMA. Very much to the upside.
There you go.
Honestly, I don't have much to say about this chart other than really nice look. SMCI does scare me just a skosh. I watched this as we fell. Oh, Sean's riding that bull to the upside.
What I really like is Ram's laugh, bro. Just laughing up a storm back there. Sorry to interrupt.
My favorite, we have lots of fun here, as in case you can't tell. My favorite too is how Sean just presses the buttons and like we don't address it. Like we're
Gets
just talking
super
and then
excited.
there's Sean just swoops in. It's a really fun time.
Yeah.
Adds a little bit of spice.
Here
to the
comes
markets.
swooping. Watch this animation, baby. This is from the OG animation days. Wow, I love how he shoots out of the airplane, yet he's unharmed.
Yeah,
He
Jason
lands
Statham.
on his
Who?
feet. I love it.
Yeah.
Duh.
Who's Jason Statham? No, he is Sean Katina.
Meta is absolutely pumping to the high side now, $1 in the money here. The Katina Man's $1.50 in the money on META as it's inching in closer and closer to high a day. 488.53 is the high. We just got printed there at 40s. Meta is continuing to be strong, holding the 20 period like a glove. So when it dipped in, we were looking for 486, but 486 didn't come to fruition. So we had to look for a different trade because we knew Meta was going to be strong here. And then the 20 period seemed to be the most logical of the bunch. And we're about to print new high day. We're at 53s, very close here to print new high day on Meta. What a move up on META here. And the future, baby. The future clearing 18,000, 1750. This one's clearing it nicely.
Yeah, I mean, congrats. That meta trade, fabulous. Also fabulous. Joanna Brewster, a couple other people in the chat mentioning mRNA, and wow. Wow, I have no words. This was an earnings play, just kind of, casually just hopping along, gallivanting on that little horse that Sean was, or that bull that Sean was riding in that animation.
I think it was a donkey.
Oh, donkeys.
Yeah.
Moving, kind of this nice little move to the upside, flying up here with volume. You can see if I zoom in here, that volume pop that we got here on this move to the upside as well on mRNA. Whew. This is another chart, much like SMCI, a little bit hard to analyze because all I can say is upside, upside, upside.
Katina Man, are you coming on?
Turn my mic up.
All right, we'll let the Katina Man set up. He's gonna come in for a second and drop some hotlines, but we're dealing with his mic right now. We good to go? No, he's not good to go. Yeah, I'll talk for a second while the Katina Man sets up. Ram's dealing with his mic at the moment, but I want to tell you about this Apple pump. Apple is on the way up, guys. I really don't understand what's happening with Apple here midday. We'll maybe look at that when we get back from the Katina Man. He's ready.
Yeah, no, I just want to make
are at 52-week highs right now for Meta, so watch out for this 488.62. I don't know if it's on the, there it is, yeah, right there. So you can see 488.62 made just a couple days ago. We're gonna watch out for Meta. It's taking it out right now. We did have that 488 break, remember? And then we got out once it broke back in, then back into the long. It's gonna be a nice one. Taking out right now 52-week highs. It's all about that Meta, baby. We also bought some Rivian in the long-term account. Let's see if that works out. Now up to 11.50. We actually got filled at 11.25, which isn't the exact bottom, but that's another trade that we have. And then the what's one of the top net trades here today for me is going to be, we're still in, is going to be AMD. We actually broke it through 182. We got mad that we didn't have AMD or NVIDIA yet, so we broke that one through 182. The top out there, 183.50, and then we held 20%, got out at 10 there again, and we still have 10 going on. Wow, here we go. We have some Meta exploding right now, back up to the upside. So it's Meta, it's all the time, baby. And I want to say a big thank you to Mark, who is right now looking at the board. We are long Meta 486.82 right now. And thank you to everybody for supporting the second stream. This is me on the ones and twos. Back over to Sharif and Adara.
And this is what Sean is talking about when he talks about second stream, baby. This is it right here. This is a live feed. Bears versus Bulls. We'll put this in the chat. Shout out to Bears versus Bulls, the world's greatest moderator. You got Sean's positions on the left. Meta long, AMD long, short Rivian. Look at Neil's positions. Long Marvell, short Nikola. By the way, did Brendo tell you Nikola's going to deliver 30 whole trucks next month? Google, short Google as well. I don't mean to mock that, but
Sorry.
yeah, I'm sorry. And now, Darren, you're making me laugh. You also have the daily schedule today. Look at what we had in the morning, the top stocks on the day, the biggest movers. All of Neil's and Sean's entries and exits, the buy, the sell, the price, the time, everything. Make sure you are subscribed to our other channel. It goes by the name of More Trader TV Live. And this is where you can find this live channel. So for everybody asking about the Katina Man's trades, the Neil's trades during the midday, your wish has been granted. And this is the channel you need to sign up to right now, baby. What's up, Katina Man? Well, you're so printed on Meta. Look at Meta go, baby. At the 88s?
488.80.
I got printed at 88s. And I'm not even making that a joke. You know I like 88s because of...
88 Heartbreak?
No,
Oh, yeah.
because of Michael Irvin, because
It
of
is
Des
808.
Bryant, because of CD Lamb. Obviously, he's hitting the pills. Obviously, baby. There we go. We're on our way to 489, though, Adara. Okay, Boomer, where'd that come from? Did you do that, Ram Ram? Ram Ram is calling us boomers. No. I'm kidding. New print right there. The Katina Man and I getting filled at 488. Very pleased as punch. Let's see what we can do with 489, though, Adara.
Yeah, I mean, congrats to you guys. That Meta is fabulous. I was trying to get involved in the
Wow,
Amazon
Neil.
long, missed my opportunity to get in. Tried to get involved in Microsoft short, and then that fell and stopped being a short before I could punch in. That's okay, though. All good, looking for new opportunities. I did issue a formal apology to Nicola in the chat for laughing at it and his 30 trucks. So, yeah, I just thought I couldn't stop myself. Some really good, good Nicola jokes in the chat as well. Shout out to Crypto Cockatoo, praising our chemistry. Yeah, we love being here, love learning a little bit every day, and happy that, happy to have everyone here as well. Easy for all shoppers, $1.99 super chat. SMCI changed me and my family for life. Prayer hand
Bang.
emoji. So let's look at SMCI. Ooh. Getting back into that 1,000. Congrats to anybody in this name, and I really do mean that sincerely. Thank you for the super chat, easy for all shoppers. Yeah, SMCI seems kind of unstoppable, and I think combined with the powerhouse that is NVIDIA, it seems to be getting a nice boost here. So,
Bang.
whew, these two, and also Lily coming in a much farther third place for these big runners in 2024. But the cash cow beats it all there.
Yeah, the cash cow's printing, baby. Do you remember this one that we talked about, Adara? RXRX. Shout out to Nimit in the chat. Nimit was well over 30 pennies in the money if you did take this 15 break long. We're definitely getting a little bit of resistance here, Nimit, at 15 a third, but RXRX continuing to be up and to the right. The dips are getting bought up. It's hugging that 20-period moving average for the most part. Let's see if it comes back into 15. Maybe we can get a dip buy around that 15 area and defend that whole dollar level. We initially had some trouble with 15, not for that many times. I'm talking specifically about these two candles over here. You come into 15, you reject, you come down to 14.71, and then the second attempt at 15 gets broken. But then you dip below 15, then you do that dance at the whole dollar level. We eventually take it and take it with vigor. Here comes 15 again, though. Let's see now what we get. So is there any size here on the bid to show some support? If you're wondering what I'm talking about, I'm looking on the left column over here. The left column shows me all the orders for a buy, for people who are bidding on RXRX. And what I'm looking for is a large order size to say, there's probably a really ambitious large buyer who may backstop the descent of RXRX if it comes to break that $15 level. And that's what you're looking for on the level 2. You're looking for that support to kind of backstop your long if you're going to get long. And I don't really see anything. I saw something a little bit here at the whole dollar at 15 exactly, about 101 lots or so. Nothing really that I'm liking too much, but it is bouncing off 15. So that dip trade there, if you had an order, a resting order at that level, you're printing. So you're already up 10, 15 pennies or so. Let's see what this one does, but it's been a good looker for the majority of the afternoon. Let's flip back to here on META. We got filled at 98s, baby. So we have 20% of this trade left here on Meta. What a nice move up here, giving you multiple opportunities on the way up. I mean, it's been printing higher the entire day. Kashif, Adara, Sharif, Rivian short maybe? You want to have a look at Rivian
give me
short?
2 seconds. I'm just.
Yeah, no, you can take your time. You're setting up orders.
Thank you very much.
I'll have a look at it over here.
Oh, yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah, no worries, man. I don't have to apologize. All right, let's look here at Rivian. Obviously, the big boys are in this name, and they've been in it the majority of the morning. And there we go. We made a move up into VWAP here, it looks like to me, and then several tops into VWAP, all of which have been rejected here on Rivian, down 25, almost 26%. So now you're getting the second attempt at VWAP. And prior to that, you were printing all these higher highs and higher lows. You could even call it a triple bottom of sorts at that 1106, 1108 level, whatever, give or take a couple of pennies. And then you had 2 attempts at VWAP, and then you curl. You curled on both times. But this curl looks, if it dips below 1140, that'll be a newer low. And I'm talking about this curling down over here. So let's watch intently here to see if we print a newer low. If we print a newer low, then I personally wouldn't want to get in the long on here. This would be an interesting short, if anything. So we'll wait. I'm not going to jump into anything at the moment, but several attempts at VWAP, all of which have been rejected on Rivian. You know, obviously, if you're taking it long here, I'm not saying it's a bad idea, but it is a counter trend trade. You are taking something long that's down 25% on the day, albeit you're in a bit of a secular uptrend over here. And you have been since what time? 11:20. So it's been making higher lows and higher highs on Rivian since 11:20 onward. So an hour and 50 minutes now. We'll see. We'll see here on Rivian. I'm going to keep it on the side chart and see what it does. Oh, there we go. Newer low. Newer low, Adara. I'm not going to touch this. You got the lesson? Or
yeah, I am ready to go here.
All right, let's do it.
I'm just kind of chilling in the Cybertruck. I can talk about that after the lesson. But first, lesson time.
Man.
Trading terminology. Advanced day trading concepts. This could be you sitting in front of your many, many monitors. I like this little animation there at the bottom. Or not animation, image. Day trading strategies. So we've got a couple of categories here. Day trading strategies. Scalping, as Sharif said, a word I use quite a lot. Or scalpulation. Sean also scalps as well. And so scalping is, it's a different approach to trading. It's when you're going to profit from smaller moves, smaller frequent moves, often with larger shares. Not for me necessarily, but usually scalpers will take these larger share sizes so they can really get in and out with as many shares as possible. It requires, you need to be really fast with your execution. You really need to watch your risk management. So sometimes I need to be better about risk management, honestly, too. But sometimes, you really want to give yourself like only a couple pennies, be really cognizant and make sure you know what's happening there. Swing trading, also a different one. Shout out to Michael Noss. This is when you hold positions for days or weeks, but still pretty short term, but definitely longer than a day, because you're looking to capture larger trends using technical analysis, and patience is going to be key as well. Also, too, we talk a lot about how when Michael Noss is looking at stocks, he's really only looking at the technicals, right? He wants those patterns. That's what's going to be really important, and so it's a part of why it's a bit of a different approach to trading, whereas we use a lot of technical stuff, of course, as well with day trading, but we're also sometimes looking at events, earnings, what's moving the stock, what's giving us these intraday moves, right? So I think it's kind of swings a little bit different in that regard. Momentum trading. This is when you're kind of going to be riding these trends aggressively. This is something I know Sharif likes to do a lot as well. You're going to be looking for momentum. So you want momentum as it builds, and you're going to be getting out as the momentum fades. That meta trade was a really key example of a momentum trade. So congrats to Sharif and Sean and anybody else involved in that name. Last but not least here, we also have pairs trading to talk about. So this is when you want price discrepancies between related assets, and you're going to capitalize on their tendency to move in tandem. So let's say today, Sean used this example, if you're going to go Intel short, well, the rest of these chip names are to the upside, right? Neil was also talking about sometimes the discrepancies between tech and some of those more bellwether stocks, right? So there's certainly finding things that move in opposition to one another and trading them differently. So let's talk as well about this technical indicators. These kind of go beyond the basic support and resistance of which we spoke yesterday. And we have some more advanced indicators, including EMA, SMA. These are going to be the exponential moving average, which is kind of a little bit more placing emphasis on more recent price movements, and then the SMA. So that's going to be the smooth moving average as well. Moving average in general, just kind of the average price that we have at a given time for a stock. The VWAP, volume weighted average price. So that is also a really key thing we talk about a lot, and as also Sharif was mentioning, Michael Noss will say a lot of these hedge funds will actually be looking at VWAP and where VWAP is with regards to entering and exiting trades. So that could be super important as well to keep an eye on. And as Sharif said once that I really keep an eye on, it's not always going to matter for each position where it is, but it's always good to know where it is. And as Sean said, when he was invited me on his market recap show, which I was very happy to be on, VWAP is always going to be super important. Also, shout out to the market recap banner showing there, and really big thing that I learned really early in my trading journey as well. Always keep an eye on VWAP. MACD, this is moving average convergence divergence. Just the idea of you can identify trend strength and potential reversals using this. RSI, also a little bit, this one you're gonna want more confluence. Like all of these, you don't wanna use them alone. You wanna use them as part of a balanced trading diet, right? But these is really gonna look at overbought and oversold conditions, which can suggest potential areas of reversal and buying, selling opportunities. Stochastic oscillator is another important one as well, and that's really going to look at price momentum and potential trend. But no one indicator is going to be your crystal ball. You want to use them all together, put them in a soup, and enter trades on the balance of the evidence. Risk management, also a huge important one. Position sizing. You don't want to allocate too much position into each trade because A, you don't want to, blow out your entire account with one trade, and B, you want to make sure that you're not risking too much. That's also super key as well, right? You don't want to be overexposed. Oh, hello?
Yes, we have a mid-lesson update.
Haha, there is a magic 8-ball. There is the magic 8-ball, and it can tell you exactly what trade is going to be.
You stand corrected, Adara. Or
How
was
dare
it
I?
you?
It was.
Joking. We have one too over here.
I was joking.
Yeah, go ahead.
But yeah, that was pretty funny. The risk-reward ratio is also super important with regards to entering trades and risk management. And like I said, I mentioned this earlier as well. This, not even just while you're in a trade. You want to be thinking about your risk-reward and your position size before you even enter the trade. And sometimes part of your profit-taking strategy, or it's one I like to use a lot, is piecing it out as you go. Sharif talks about his beak wetters. That's something I like to do too, making sure you have different areas outlined for where you might want to piece out parts of your profit. So I think that can be really key as well. Diversification. You don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. Or in Sharif's case, you want to put all 12 eggs in one basket. I'm sorry, I had to.
That's okay.
I had to do it too.
You're more than within your rights to drop that line. I mean, you wouldn't be the first one.
But yeah, the idea that you want to make sure that you're really diversifying your assets. You want to spread your trades across different assets. You don't want to put everything, you don't want to put your whole position in. For example, a Tesla short that's going against you, cough, cough, me. You really want to make sure that you balance out your trades. And last but not least, pattern recognition is really important.
Bang.
There's different hidden messages that the charts can tell you. We talked about these in past weeks as well, but head and shoulders is a really key one. This one can tell you there might be a potential trend reversal. Triangles, you can suggest a breakout in either direction. I was talking earlier, right at the start of the midday, that we had that break of that Apple flat bottom break. That one was super key. Really, they can kind of show you potential breakouts in either direction. Again, don't take anything on its own. Really take the whole balance of the evidence before you enter a position or before you base everything on one indicator, chart pattern, etc. Flags and pennants also can suggest signal continuation of the current trend after a pause. And you really want to make sure you backtest these patterns, or you want to have other, looking at other balance. Like, for example, are we doing this at VWAP? Are we doing this with an indicator? Is there confluence with anything else we're going to be looking at?
Bang.
So you don't want to get involved all willy-nilly just based on one factor. That's the lesson for the day.
All right, the Katina Man bought the dip on AMD. So if you're following along with the Katina Man, he took that 181.5 and a 2/3 area long. So you can obviously watch out on the second stream, but we got Mark, one of the technical guys there, making sure that all the positions are accurate. Neil, are they accurate at the moment? Are yours accurate?
Yeah, I just got my AMD.
Okay, so Neil's.
SPCE is telling you what to do.
So Neil says watch SMCI, because SMCI is telling you what to do on AMD here. And this is what I want to show you guys. Oh my God. This thing's up 33% today. I can't believe what I'm seeing here, man. Did you see this?
Yeah.
Did you see this?
I can't process it, Sharif. It's too much.
Trading the wrong thing, my goodness. But
It's
you
hard
know,
to trade.
whenever I get feeling FOMO like that and I feel bad about myself for not having traded a particular name, I go back and I remind myself why I didn't trade this, and it's too spready, too expensive. If I end up getting rinsed on it, I'm going to get in a lot of trouble here. So different way of trading at home with your own money and when you got to report to yourself, and different when you got bosses. So anyway, man, it looks like we may be on our way to 1,000 again. Like this thing's up 32 2/3% today. It's up 242% on the year. We haven't even closed the book on February yet. I know it was higher. I know this is a squeeze name. I get all that. The point is, though, it's a profitable name. And wow. Anyway, SMCI very strong on the day, trying to hold at the green line. The green line, in case you're wondering, is the 10-period exponential moving average. If you bought the dip anywhere from 1055 onwards on SMCI at the 10 EMA, you are in the money.
Yeah.
So it's a crazy look, but SMCI continues to print. This trade that we have on Meta right now, kind of stagnant a little bit, hanging out at that 488 1/3. I'm unsure about what to do with this. I got, well, how many do I have? 2 more outs or 3 more outs? I have 2 more outs on this one, so I'm trying to pack my patience to see if we can get a 490 touch. I did get that print at 488, 90 something or another. Up here, this is the one I'm talking about, top wick for now. Let's see if we can get a different top wick or another top wick through the break of 489. I'm going to pack my patience. But Apple, what the bad word? Because Apple is headed up, uninterrupted. Adara, there is nary a red candle on the chart here from 12:15 onwards, and this is the 5-minute look. Apple is rocketing up, and I don't have any information as to why it's being bought, but we do know a couple of things. We know that they have a share buyback program, so that, it could be turned on. Number 2, we know that Uncle Warren dropped some of his Apple position for the first time, I think, ever. Could he be getting back into it? It doesn't even have to be Uncle Warren, but this screams of a buy program that's on right now on Apple. When you have this amount of 5-minute candles uninterrupted without a catalyst, to me, this yells buy program. And what you do with it, I mean, I feel like I'm catching it a little bit late. We're inching in real close here to the high of day. This is the IB high at 184.19. We're at 184.04. Let's see what we get when we get to the high of day, but what a move up off that 182.5 bottom. Now we're talking maybe a 184.5 that's coming in here on Apple. And if you've been watching Apple lately, you know that it's been kind of, I don't want to call it dead money, but it really hasn't been the mover that some of these other names have been. So I'm a little astonished by it today. No, I was going to read something else. All right, Jay Lee, SMCI, in my humble opinion, has a good chance to Hwadunk again. If you want, I think shorting around here is the correct play. If beak wetter, I'd rather do that on my own account, to be honest with you, Jay, maybe with options, if it's feasible. I won't do it here on the floor. It's just too much risk. Dan Emmons, I've been taking a shot of whiskey every time you said bang. Today I'm absolutely wasted. No way, dude. Dan, I hope that's not serious. That's Ram Ram hitting the bangs now. It was the Katina Man, and then it was Ram Ram. All right, a shout out to Dan Emmons. There we go. There's Ram Ram and the Chilean Nightmare. I love it. All right, Adair, we're coming down in here on Meta. So decisions for me to be made whether I re-up or get out of the position at my level.
Yeah, I mean, I like the area we're coming back into because that's the area I was kind of getting involved in as well, or at least interested in getting involved in. If we hold up at this 487 area, 487.50 is not bad for me. I kind of prefer that like you said, that 487.42. I think if we hold that, I might actually hop back in on this and just kind of range it out. Also, I did have some trades that were kind of meh that I want to talk about because that's what we do here on How to Trade. So Tesla was a situation. I wanted to go short where I did. I'll explain my short. So this 3-minute candle, I like we had that massive wick here up into 197 and failed. It looks like a short. The short worked for about 2 seconds. Then it flew up. I got it when we broke above 197. Just kind of risk management stuff. Congrats to anybody still in this name. Continuing to go to the high side here. Then I had this IWM, which was you know, again, didn't work out, but again, just risk management stuff. So, of course, now it's working. Okay, I might have to reevaluate this. Why I got involved where I did is now you can't kind of see, but we had a little bit of a shelf at that 199.10, which is where we also had that, and I think it's clear on the 5, where we had that push up earlier, so I wanted to get involved in this. I gave it like, I got involved, I added a little bit to this position, but then we basically broke below the 199. That was my level. I got out. Added back in when we seemed to be holding that 199. We filled it again. I got out. Really just normal, boring risk management stuff there. Nothing too exciting. So not super proud of the trade, but I can't be disappointed because I, you know, held up my end of the bargain, which is to manage risk. So there we go. That's my take on that. Meta, that recovery for Meta at that 487.50 is very nice, and I'm kind of a little tempted here at this Meta.
Yeah,
I think Meta's a very nice look. Yeah, there's a lot today. It's just really, with all these midday breakouts, it's not really my type of trade. I prefer to kind of have the ranges. And we had some ranges earlier, and then the market just kind of swooped around without them, right? So very, very, very much trying to find opportunities here. Apple being mentioned here by Joanna Brewster. And I know you were just talking about Apple as well, so I'm going to take a look at Apple for myself here because I'm really, like I said, just looking for some good opportunities and some ways to finagle
Look
my
at
way
that.
to some trades.
Look at that.
That's so good. Yeah, I can't
This
even.
is a
this
buy
such a breakout.
program yelling at you. Look at me, I'm a buy program. I don't mean to interrupt you there, but
it's
it's just
okay.
like, look at it. It's uninterrupted to the high side. Is that the 5-minute chart? Was that the 3 or the 5?
5.
The 5. Yeah, there you go. I mean, enough said right there. Some comments to get to here. D-Loaf. Speaking of FOMO, man, how does Alfred feel with Tesla and this market these days? I bought 195 in April 2023 with the big boy size in long term. FOMO printed right now on my forehead. Look, man, I don't know. I think he's in a long time ago. Ram. He's in a long time ago. He basically bet the farm in 2019, right before that big move up. And that's when Tesla had just come out of the issues that it had in 2018 when they were almost bankrupt and he was trying to get Tim Cook to buy Tesla. We all know that story. But yeah, basically he's been long Tesla a long time. He did have his shares called away at one point because he was selling calls and puts and stuff like that. He did have them called away, but he was up huge on it already. So it didn't really matter too much for him, and he got back in. Adam, Big Adam Duluth, don't worry about SMCI. Remember, you had an almost $4 banger on NVIDIA today. I appreciate you, Adam. Big Kyle Burdette, NVIDIA short, got to short at 775 and 200 SMA resistance 1-minute chart. Kyle, you're a brave soul, I got to tell you. I mean, shorting NVIDIA, I got to tell you, obviously you're very good at shorting. And you're always short the ES and the NQ, but I worry about shorting this name. Who knows how this bad boy squeezes? It's right above VWAP right now, though. Look at it. VWAP and 770 look awfully good at this level. So possible hold here on NVIDIA. I have no idea. We'll have to wait and see what we get, but we definitely are basing out here. It looks like this is 4 or 5-minute candles with that 770, let's say 770 and a half low. I mean, you're looking at dollars here. It's even hard to see on the chart, $1, because of the range that we've had here on NVIDIA. So great look on NVDA, but just not in my position at the moment. Let's see what else people are chatting about here. Shorted it with puts already, cashed out 90%. Shout out to you, Kyle. Great trade. But Apple continues to go here, Adara. Any thoughts on Apple?
Yeah, no, my thoughts on Apple is I think there was a super chat earlier. Thank you so much again to Ahmed Almwala. And it was 184 Apple. And I think I said, because at the time it did not look possible. In my defense, we just had a flat bottom break at the time. It really did look impossible. But I apologize. I have eaten my words. Fantastic breakout. You called it. Clearly saw something that I did not. And so congrats to you because it took a while. But once we had that move up, fantastic move up. I also want to shout out the podcast because I know Sean and Brendan were talking about this, the share sales that BRKB was doing with Apple and how they're like, you know what, Warren's probably already bought them back, right? Because we don't, you know, that's just when those filings show up. It doesn't necessarily mean when they were filed, right? So I think that's a really, really nice look there for Apple. And again, congrats to everybody in that nice swoop up there. I'm involved in 2 trades right now. Meta long, actually getting close to my profit taker here for some of it. So I got involved, like I said, that 487.60. trying to get out of that 488.30, then saving a piece for the dream. 488.88, taking your 88 thing way too seriously, but I just want to be out before 489. And 88 felt like a positive omen. I know it's an area we can reach. So I'm pretty happy with this right now. Nothing to report. Also got involved long arm. And so we'll see if I don't know if this is a long arm in the market, but my thesis for this was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 quintuple bottom here on ARM, taking out some profit at that area from whence we chopped and churned, that 132.30. Should we get there? Because that's giving it at least $1. So I don't know if we'll get there. Saving a piece for the dream around that 133, but that will be a mighty big dream. I have no idea if we will sleep long enough to get there. If we achieve REM, I'll be happy with this trade. Also, sorry, one more super chat here from Iolo, Georgia. If I'm so sorry I pronounced that wrong. My apologies. $5 super chat. Love the lesson. Thank you so much. Can I ask what is the ticker symbol for NASDAQ futures, and is the same one in the trading view for NASDAQ 100 E-minis? Thanks. So I think for the E-minis, it's usually QQQ. And I know you trade the futures, so you might have a better sense for the ticker for the NASDAQ futures than me, because I know it's MNQ, right?
Yeah, so there's the difference, right? There is the MNQ and then there's the NQ.
Yeah.
And then there's even a smaller one too. There's I think the E-mini? Let me just double check. Oh, let's bring it up over here. But the MNQ, obviously it's different. Each tick up is worth a different amount, and that's what the difference is between the two. Let's pull it up on this screen over here. So we'll type in NQ and see how many derivatives. So we have the E-mini, and then you have the micro E-mini, and then you just have the regular one. Sorry, one sec. No, it's just the E-mini and then the micro. So those are the only two. Sorry, just kind of got a brain cramp there. So you have the MNQ, which is the micro E-mini, and then you have the E-mini, which is the regular NQ. I personally keep the NQ chart on. I just feel it's the more important of the two because it's the ones that institutions are going to be trading. That's how they hedge their bets, and they basically take a longer dated view of the economy using the futures and using options and other things like that. So I just keep my chart on NQ, but when I actually trade it over here, you'll see MNQ. And that's just because of the amount that it costs. Number one, costs, I think, Neil, one NQ contract's about 100K. One second. The ES was around 50,000, right, per one contract? Yeah, I'll look at it. If you guys know in the chat, let me know. I forget how much it is. We used to know all this stuff when we started out here. This is some of the stuff that we had to get tested on. But when you don't use it every day, you tend to forget. But yeah, it's based upon the leverage. 12.5K, someone's saying. So 20 times. All right, one MNQ contract is about 35K. Okay. So here comes Dan. One NQ contract equals 18,000, but intraday it's only 1,000. Depends on your broker. That's interesting. I had no idea about that. That's very interesting stuff. So I've never actually traded the futures on my own platform. It's only when I came here that the futures really became a thing. I used to chart off the futures for the intraday movers on the mega caps and stuff like that, but I never actually traded it. And if I did, I think it was like the triple Qs or the SPY. But futures contracts tend to forget what some of those the differences are and how much everything costs and how much per tick and stuff like that. I used to know all that, but memory's fading, baby. All right, let's talk about what else is fading here, and that goes by the name of Meta. It is coming back down again. It tried another 488 take. It looks like it's rejecting 488 with these topping tail candles. I'm going to really be watching intently to see if it breaks this low over here at 487 and say a third. If it breaks that level, then we'll probably just cut it and take an 8-penny loss on the remaining 20%. Otherwise, I'm going to let this run possibly into 489. That would be my ideal situation, especially in the light of the fact that the futures are continuing to hold about 18,000. 18,028 is exactly where we're, the high of day, pardon me. And we're holding 18,000. We haven't dipped below 18,000 since taking it. And so, you know, I'd rather not see Meta turn back here, but it looks like it's Tesla on the way up, Apple on the way up, and even Softy got into VWAP here. So yeah, if Meta doesn't go, it doesn't go. We'll have to wait and see. Adam, depends on the price, which is constantly changing. Right now, 18,000. That is something I did not know. I did not know that the futures contract actually changed. That's very interesting. That's very interesting. I did not know that. Okay, very interesting. Zion Lala, think Tesla to 200 today. It's slowly climbing up. Thoughts? You weren't at long. Yeah, I feel bad about taking it out. Quite frankly, took it out in front of 196, and look where it's at now, 197.5. And this is the level we were telling Adara. I mean, we were talking about that pre-market high area, and we said, okay, we started comparing the candles and the volume based on to what we're doing intraday. But this is the area that we were looking at. It was the pre-market top during that consolidation phase at around 6:30 a.m. Let's see what we get here on TSLA at this level. But yeah, great look for you. If you really want a different level off which to work, you have to look at yesterday's high there at around 199.5. And if you're looking at the closing prints, not the wicks, it takes you back down to 199. So those are also levels that you can keep your eye on. We've cleared this top yesterday in Tesla. The only other top that I would say possibly have your eye on is that 4:05 a.m. top. Again, on almost no volume, 23,000, 24,000 shares of volume at 4 a.m. is a lot, but not relative to what we're printing right now. So the top there is 198.50 on the wick, and then the closing print is 198, a little bit above 198. So those are levels that you can chart. Obviously, we've broken through 197 with a 197.5 top, but yeah, it doesn't look like the market's turning back here, baby. 18,030 now, high of day on the future.
Whew, yeah, I mean, all I have to say is, wow, sorry, that was kind of loud. But this market's very loud as well, so
oh, yeah.
Market's been screaming to the upside, to make a pun. But yeah, I think this arm look is, I'm happy with it. We got out part of the profit, like I said, saving a piece for the dream, slightly below that 133. And yeah, the quintuple bottom was the main thesis here. And then just using previous areas of support and resistance to plan my outs, right? So that was where this one out was, around that 132.30 area, and that really just came because that was where we had that previous kind of chop insurance. So that's the look on that trade. We got out of Meta entirely, and why I got out of Meta entirely, albeit maybe a little bit early, was just because we broke over that 488 once while I was in it. We had a really hard time eclipsing it again, so I was just like, we'll get out at 488. Beggars cannot be choosers, and I liked the position. I was like, if you like it, just take it out. You know what I mean? Don't go chasing waterfalls. Don't, stay when you're not welcome or when the stock doesn't want you there anymore. If there's another dip and rip opportunity for Meta, I shall be interested. Kyle Burdett saying this is completely normal price action. Yeah, that's fair too. You know what? And I understand. Like, I'm still new to the market, and I find all this stuff very exciting and a really fun day to trade in. Also, too, I want to talk about it as well. So my comments on Apple, literally just kind of my take on the intraday chart, because I know I think I saw something in the chat. Yeah, like my take on Apple is it's purely just intraday. I thought initially it was going to be a flat bottom break. Now we're at that 184. We're really having a hard time eclipsing 184 though, but it looks kind of similar to what I thought with Amazon, where Amazon seemed a little bit like we were kind of stuck in a range, and then we broke above that 173 beautifully, or 173.50, I apologize, that 173.50. So yeah, my take is always just gonna be what I'm seeing in the chart. I am trying to learn, and so I do appreciate everybody's insights, when I get things wrong or when there's maybe something I'm missing. So, Kyle Burdett saying it was sarcasm. Okay, yeah, I can't do sarcasm. I apologize.
It's not her strength.
It did not convey, but I still appreciate the comment there. Kyle
I learned
Burdett.
that one a while ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all good.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean,
nothing that I'd be upset about.
It's really nice because even if other people are sarcastic sometimes, Sharif will kind of let me know.
Yeah, I'd be like,
so it's helpful.
Dara, he's being sarcastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all good. Guys,
it's true.
We're pumping here on Tesla. We're pumping on the future. Meta's okay. I mean, we're not going to take it out. Apple is kind of finding a bit of a consolidation top there around that 184.10, but still lots of green on all these charts. The future's pumping. Again, Tesla's pumping here. Let's just have a look at NVIDIA. Yeah, see, that's why I was worried about NVIDIA short, obviously. $5 off that 770 VWAP touch on NVDA. But this is the one that I was looking at here for Nimit. RXRX. This one broke 15. Ram chart. Well, a second over here, 15 and a third, and then it gave up 15 as quickly as it got there. And now it's acting as a resistance level. Look at this candle coming into 15 here. Could not print anything above that 15 level. So RXRX, we're going to watch this one, see if this one presents us more opportunities north of 15. So far, nada. We'll have to wait there. All right, Meta getting a nice bounce back up on Meta. Here we go, 488.5 again. Could we see 489? We have 2 more outs on this one. No point taking any out at 489. We already got that 489 print. I'm going to be on the other side of 489 and see if we can get maybe the $0.25 or something like that. But keep in mind, if you are going to put a resting order here on Meta, that the spread on this one, typically 10 pennies, 8 pennies, give or take. So you're going to have to cross. The bid will have to reach your price, not just the ask, right? For you to get printed. That's one of the kind of the Achilles heel of Meta and some of these other big cappers that tend to get a little spready, is that you're going to really need wait for that that other side of the trade to cross. So I'm going to go ahead here and sit at 489. I'm going to sit at a fifth. And we're going to put that resting profit taker there to see if we get filled. Fuge, new high a day. Tesla, new high a day. Amazon just printed a new high day at 174.25. So lots of stuff getting into high days here. Here's AMZN. This is what I was just talking about. Nice move up. And remember when Adara and I came on the show, Amazon looked like it was doing nothing. It was very similar to Apple. And then they kind of both got going at around the same time, I'd say. Let's see, this one started moving 12:05. When did Apple start moving? 12:20. So yeah, almost around the same time, both up and to the right, but both finding a bit of resistance. Apple trying to stay above that 184. We'll see how long that lasts for, but it's putting in a kind of like a bull flag. But this could be, you know, topping tail candles in a reversal of the move. I wouldn't be surprised if this happens. If we give back everything, maybe into 183 1/3, 183 1/4 on Apple, I would not be surprised at all. Up 1%, so nothing to sneeze at. Let's go have a look at Meta. Yeah, we're still at the 488 level on Meta, 488 3/4 level on Meta. Let's see if we can get that whole dollar break.
Yeah, I mean, congrats to you on Meta. I got out of Meta too early. I also got out of ARM too early. I got out because we were really struggling with that 132, and I was like, you know what? We scalpulated, we got it out. Happy with this trade. This is by far my best name in the day from like a P&L perspective and also just an execution perspective. Thank you. But yeah, I mean, this quintuple bottom, I think Elon in the chat was also saying that you went long there. So congrats to you if this is working out. Hopefully you're still holding. Like I said too, though, I'm trying to be, you know, true to my my style of trading, which is definitely more kind of range and scalping. So I am happy with this. I think like for me, what I found one of the best ways to kind of eradicate, or not eradicate, but deal with FOMO is to just recognize, hey, you had a trade. It worked for that reason. And believe me, I'm very clinging to that method when I look at what happened to the IWM. Because, whew, like I said, I got involved in this. I got it when we broke below that 199. And look, we bounced up like 50 pennies. It's really hard to watch, but it's okay because you know what the thing is? I can look at this and know I respected my risk parameters, right? And as sad as I am that this moved without me, I'd be even more sad if I missed on this.
Oh,
if
wow.
I was like lost, right? Like if I lost paper money on this, right? Because I am, honestly, even though I am in the sim, I'm always thinking about risk management in a very real way. I take it very seriously. Yeah. And so even though this is a crazy move and I'm a little sad I missed it, I'm much happier that this didn't go against me while I was in it. So that's my take on that.
Remember the expression we use all the time, plug power has been my best trade?
Oh,
even though
yeah.
I lost $1 a share on it, right?
Yeah,
because it was risk
plug
management.
power now is, or UNG I know too, right? I know you said that as well, UNG.
And Nat Gas?
Yeah.
Yeah, UNG.
Oh, sorry, yeah,
Yeah,
UNG.
$1.50 loss there. Yeah, that's all right.
But no, yeah, I like, you have to, I know Neil sometimes says miss the trade to make the trade. I think sometimes too, you have to leave the trade to make the trade.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're not gonna stop out, really, what's the point of doing that whole assessment?
There you go.
Right?
Bang.
Yeah. Adair, we keep printing higher highs here on the future. I know. Right? The future is really pumping here, 18,037. But you're not really seeing a whole lot of Mag 7 name participation here, for the exception of Tesla. I mean, we are at highs on the futures, but we're not at highs on Meta. We're about 10 pennies off the high on Amazon. We're not at the high on Apple. We are at the high on Tesla. We are not even close to the high on Google, nor are we on NVIDIA. Big Kyle Burdett was also asking me about Google. He's like, flat bottom break here. This is the weakest of the Mag 7 names. I don't know if we get a flat bottom break. Kyle, you know, it's not one of those ones that's really, yeah, it could be. Setting up lower highs with a flat bottom. I'd say that the trade on here is rejections off VWAP. So if you're curling into that 144, 143.90 area, the moves into VWAP have been quite fruitful, and they paid. So maybe that's what I'd be looking for. but I don't know if I'd be inclined to put an order on the other side of 143, like say 142 high 90s, for example, for that, you know, aggressive flat bottom break that you would get maybe on a small cap. That's not really what I'm looking at here on Google, but who knows? And I don't know. I don't feel right shorting any Mag 7 name when the market is at highs, especially the NQ. Maybe not the ES. I wouldn't necessarily make the same type of connection between the ES and the Mag 7 as I do with the NQ and the Mag 7. But yeah, 18040, 18043 now. The future's pumping, baby. And Microsoft now above the VWAP, above 410. So we could be curling up here, man. I don't know. Bonkzilla, what platform is that? That's just my proprietary platform. Tony Price, market breadth is improving. Rotation into other stocks. You're not wrong. And you have the Russell up again today at 0.81. It's definitely not where the NQ is. The NQ is almost at 3%. It's 2.88. DES at almost 2%, 1.97. So a little bit of an underperformance here from the Russ, 0.82. It's even underperforming the Dow. The Dow is at 1.05. So I get what you're saying. But we'll have to wait and see. Meta's back up into the high 488s. Let's see if we can get a 489 print this time, Madera.
Yeah, I was trying to bamboozle my way back into Meta, that 488.30, because I like that really nice bounce off VWAP. I always look at the book as well, and we held the book really well on that. Meta was like, too bad, Adara. I only want Sharif right now. Like,
Did it
I've
talk like
chosen,
that?
Yeah, that's how Meta talks. I don't know.
It's like you're taking from my book now, making these voices. I like it.
Right.
Good
I like
for
to do
you.
the voices. Thank you.
For you.
Thank you. But yeah, so Meta was like, actually, Adara, just Sharif having this long is fine by me. You had your chance, you scalped me out, and that shame on you. And that, you know what? That's okay, Meta. If we get filled, I'm okay with that. I'm going to leave this order here because I actually don't mind this 488.30 area, especially because we are still seeing higher lows. Like if I draw this trend line, and I will, poorly, but I will do it. Like honestly, since we began this nice little uptrend around 11:15, we really have not seen a lower low. Even when we had that drop that I unfortunately got swept up in with that failed breakout, fake out breakout of 488, right around 12:30. Even then, that wasn't really a lower low. It was just kind of a breakout of that consolidation area. Business as usual. Casual saying good vibes only today, and I really agree, both in the market and just here in this community. Yeah, really learning every day, and very grateful to everybody in the community, you know, helping me out and sharing their insight.
Thanks.
I know as well, Chris in the chat, shout out to you, just saying, you know, maybe try to give your trades more room to breathe with smaller position sizes. I think I might try working on that because I think that was what happened with that ARM where I got it too early and it blew up. And so, yeah, I really appreciate everybody's insight. I appreciate everybody's patience with me as I learn. And same to you, same to, you know, everybody here on the floor as well.
Can I make a suggestion? Because we have like lots, minimum lots that we can buy and sell. We're not going to get into that, but we have minimum lots. So one suggestion I would make to you, if you want more beak wetters, get an odd number. So instead of, for example, going 30 shares, you go 35. Instead of you see what I'm saying? So that you have a little bit there to run the piece for the dream, so to speak.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, because you're talking to me about the lot sizes. Okay, so I'm going to do that then.
Exactly, yeah. What Adara and I are talking about is that P-Pro-A and real trading, you have a minimum amount of shares that you can punch long or short into, but then you can be left with an odd lot. So say I punched in 25 shares, I can get out, 10 and 10, and then I'll be able to, let that 5 shares run for the dream kind of thing. And so that's a little trick that we have here on the floor. It's probably not going to really apply to you guys all that much. It's more nuanced to our trading platform than it is. With my brokerage, I can get in 1 share if I want. And there's fractional shares on my platform as well. It's a different entry method, but there's fractional shares on a lot of brokerages now. So probably not applicable to you guys, but just wanted to kind of iron out what Adara and I were talking there. And you're getting some love there in the chat. Hugh reaction. Adara is awesome.
Thank you very much.
There you go. And Apple, new high a day. 184.25, baby. Apple on the way up. No news catalyst to account for this midday move. I just want to make that very clear. It's my personal opinion that this is a buy program here on Apple, just owing to my experience and watching. Elon sell last year, for example, when he was selling his Tesla shares. It looked very much like this, but to obviously the downside. There were other buy programs as well that we've witnessed in the past, but this is uninterrupted up and to the right with just a momentary period of consolidation around 184, and there we go back into the highs here on Apple, 184 and a quarter, 184.27. We've cleared the IB high now. We are above yesterday's highs, and then the only level with which to contend is this 185 and a third top that we put in really early on the morning of the 16th. So we'll have to wait and see if that's even relevant. All right, we have a new high a day on Meta. It is that even dollar, 489. I'm sitting on the other side of 489, I believe at 489 and a quarter. So if Meta can break that 489 and make its way at least to the $0.25, I'll get printed there. Let's pack our patience and see if we can get that print at least by the end of the show. Remember how I told you I had to cover for Brendo? So that's off.
Yeah, so
that's
the
off.
last, oh, that's, okay, never
That's
mind.
off, yeah.
Yeah, so.
Go
there we
ahead.
So yeah, we're gonna be taking you all the way till 2 o'clock here today.
Bang.
Really exciting. Yeah, thank you guys for the support in the chat, much appreciated. Sebastian saying, Sam, bamboozling, you sound like your neighbor. Yeah, I mean, because I see Boro Sharifism there saying bamboozlement.
Yes,
but
ma'am.
yeah, this has been what a market here. Certainly so much happening here. A lot of talk about Tesla as well. So let me look here at Tesla. Okay, so Tesla, just all I have to say is upside, upside, upside. Couple people in the chat mentioning this one. So congrats to you. Also shout out to you, Rough Light. Much appreciated. Happy everyone's learning.
Bang.
But yeah, this Tesla, honestly, just along off the 9 EMA, did try to short it. Had my reasons. Broke the, it's clear on the 3-minute, but we had that top and tail candle that made me a little bit nervous here. Or not nervous, but it made me think, this could be a short, especially because it aligned with that earlier area of pre-market resistance. That's okay. We got out when we broke above that 197, and wow, we are continuing to fly. I wonder if we can hold up at this 9 EMA. This might be a quick entry for an end of midday long for me, but it looks like we're kind of failing here. Oof. Love to see what happens with Stressla here too. Compass RX calling it Tesla pressing. Yeah, this has been really trying to make that move up here. SMCI, let's look at as well, because that has been another very popular name today. Nothing super micro about the way this one has moved as of late. We did, however, so we made a bit of a lower, started a little bit, a pseudo downtrend right around 1. Came back up though into that 975. I think if I'd like to see us make a higher high above this 985 area to kind of prove that this uptrend is still going. But as long as we don't make a lower low below this 955, it could still happen. And the fact that I just said all of those numbers in a row in the past hour shows how insanely this chart moves.
Yeah, man.
This is so parabolic.
Yeah.
This is insane. I literally have nothing to say about this chart except wow, and don't make another lower low, SMCI, or you might shake out those longs. But sincerely, congrats to anyone who did well on this. I'm just talking about how crazy this thing is moving, because it is moving insanely. But honestly, if you did well in this name, power to you.
I felt like you were writing a letter or something, sincerely.
Yeah, with the flourishes.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, well, you are a writer, so that kind of right down your alley.
Right down my alley.
Yeah. See, I don't see words like that. You see it. Like the right and right. Yeah. That's not how I make connections with words. That's not where my forte is, but that's clearly where your forte is, man. Jeez. And you show it over and over and over again. You've got this skill, the pun skill. We need to come up with a different word. There was the Punisher, obviously, but that, I don't know. The Pun Queen was good, but it's a little on the nose. Panera, not Panera. Panera Ram, you kill me, bro.
She was so proud of it. She could barely
She's
talk.
laughing up a storm back there. Panera, that is so good. That's a good one, Ram. All right, we're gonna give you credit for that one. Neil likes it as well. He's nodding. He's nodding in agreement. All right, we are getting a bit of a topping tail candle here being put in on the future at that 50-point level. 18.053 and a half is the high a day. It's it's not much of a red candle, but it's one to be to keep our eye on. Now, with respect to Apple, Nicole Harris was telling me in the chat that Apple was down. Apple iPhones were down on the AT&T network the majority of the morning, I think until 12 o'clock or so. They're back up now, and this could be the reason for the move up. I mean, I didn't really see an aggressive sell-off as a result of that, nor am I even seeing it on my blotter. So I don't know how much that has to do with things, but I just thought share it with you guys in case it is accurate, and that is the reason we are pumping up here on AAPL. Trying to hold that 184 though. We'll pack our patience and see whether we can get another leg up here on the future to help propel this meta trade through 489. That's 2 touches now at 489 that we've rejected, but we haven't put in a lower high. Sorry, a lower low, excuse me. Right? Every single low that we put in has been a little bit higher than the previous low. So that's why I'm continuing to hold this trade and not getting out, because the trade is still valid. So there is a chance that we could continue to break through that 489 and get that print at the $1/5. So we'll see. Andrew Ditter. It was total pandemonium at work today with no cell phone service from AT&T. That's crazy. We didn't have any issue with the iPhone over here. In Canada, I'm on the Rogers network, which is one of the bigger networks here. There were no issues. I didn't hear any of the other guys complain about their iPhones. It looks like it was specific to AT&T. Yeah. So looks like AT&T was down in my area. It says college physics for everyone. Say that again, Neil? There was a huge outage on AT&T for everybody, Neil is saying. So good to know there. Juan Padilla, can you look at Google, mate? Absolutely. And I looked at Google earlier, Juan, and here's my thoughts on it was it's rejecting VWAP. Every attempt it's gotten into VWAP, it's made that rejection. It really can't take 144. It also looks like it's rejecting off the 50 period, which is the red line on my chart. So maybe I spoke too soon and said it was rejecting off VWAP. Here, it looks more like it's actually rejecting off the red line, which is the 50 period EMA. So I don't like this one for a long or a short. I don't like it for a short because the market is pumping above 18,000. I don't like it for a long because it's clearly having trouble here. It's dead money on the day. So I personally, if you would ask me, I would leave Google alone today. It wouldn't be the trade that I would want. It would not be the #1 on my list. Amazon, though, is the one that's continuing to go. Amazon and Apple were kind of those 2 secular Mag 7 names that really started pumping midday. Here comes 174.50 on Amazon. The Amazonian now is up 3.5% on the day. That's after, basically almost dropping below that 172 we did for a moment. Now we took 174.5. So it's a fantastic look, fantastic recovery today for Amazon. We'll have to continue to see if it pumps up into the power hour. But NVIDIA now getting a nice little bump there. All right, here possibly comes a new high. We break through this consolidation top at around 775 that we've been putting in essentially since around 12:30 today on NVDA. Now it's curling. It just touched 778 almost. Right there on the 5-minute look. So good strength on NVIDIA as the future are at highs. Nothing really to report there. Katina, man, how's the weather? Still amazing, eh? It's not raining though, is it?
I mean, it's not like a metal long.
It's not a metal long, he says, but yeah, it's good for Toronto in February. Guys, it's like 14 degrees today here. It's 10
I didn't
degrees.
even wear a jacket.
It's 10 degrees right now, and that's Celsius. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, but yeah. What's 10 degrees Celsius in Fahrenheit? Leave me alone, Neil. 50 degrees. Neil's got.
Leave me alone.
Yeah. I don't know the conversion, Neil. Multiply by 1.8 and add 32. Hold on, let me do that right now. I mean, look.
10 times 1.8?
Neil's losing it over there. He's gonna rip me a new one, man. I mean, oh boy, I don't. Yeah, he's gonna wait until his show starts. I feel like I'm gonna get rinsed on that show.
Yeah.
Let's divert the attention a little bit, Adara, so maybe he forgets. What's going on your side there?
Yeah, there's a super chat addressed to you actually.
Okay.
From Easy for All Shoppers, $4.99 super chat. Sharif, can you please check Beamer, bearish or bullish? I know that was one of those crazy small caps from earlier. But yeah, no, I think I'm gonna look at that for a second. Right now, though, I'm also in this meta long.
Yeah, you can hang out in that meta long. Just let me look at it. What's
yeah,
the ticker?
for sure. Yeah, BMR.
BMR.
It was that one that was running a couple days ago.
Okay,
yeah.
okay. Let's pull up the small cap gapper BMR. Okay, so let's look on the day. It's up 4.5%, guys. But look what it did. So I have two rules for these small cap gappers. Make of it what you will, okay? It's gotta break the pre-market high after the bell. So by definition, it has to put in a very identifiable pre-market high. So it typically has to be trading well with good volume in the pre-market for that to be the case. And it also has to be above VWAP for me to get involved. Neither of those cases is met in this particular instance. BMR, the highest it printed today was at 4 a.m. Was at 4 a.m. and the high there was 1350, just thereabouts, 1349. Look where we're trading at. We're trading at 1059, so we're definitely not above the pre-market high. Nor did we break the pre-market high after the bell and then drop below it. That's number one. Number two, we're well below VWAP. VWAP's at 11 1/3. We're trading at 10 2/3, give or take. So this one, definitely not for me. Let it set up differently on a different day, and then we could absolutely have something with this one. BMR was a good trade for a while it lasted, and maybe presents us with other opportunities. How often do we say we look at the daily chart on these small cap gappers to see if they're former runners?
Yeah.
Right?
Most of the time they are, right? And then, you know, everyone needs to run for the first time. But you know, like I think usually once they have that run, they have enough juice in them to kind of keep running there. So I think, yeah, congrats to any, you know, anyone who's ever involved in these small cap gappers. I know you were involved in the MNPR earlier, that mana par. Usually a lot of good moves. Not my type of trade as well, but at all, sorry. But some of them have really good opportunities, so always worth looking at.
Fantastic. What are you up to the rest of the day? Any plans?
Oh, it's a Thursday.
Yeah.
I might need to switch my phone. So my phone has been giving me issues.
Nice.
So I'm gonna see if I can swap the SIM. So that
New
would
iPhone,
be,
baby.
Yeah, new iPhone. So we'll see.
Very nice.
I have an iPhone 8 right now. So I think anything would be an upgrade from well, it's just like barely functional. That's the issue. I've had it for 5 years.
Gotcha.
I'm not just like an iPhone 8. I'm just saying like the time has passed. What about you? Any plans?
Nothing, just gonna go look at the new clinic that we're opening up. We're making, we're thinking a dermatology thing now. So we have to look at some of these machines and they're insanely expensive. Madness, the price of some of these machines. So my old man and I are gonna go look at that. What's that, Ram? Ram wants to know if she gets a discount. Absolutely not, Ram. You pay full price like everybody else fail.
She has thoughts about that.
She doesn't need anything like that. You don't need any dermatology stuff, Ram. You're good to go. Adara, we got a couple of minutes left on the show. What are your thoughts?
Only a couple minutes left. Yeah, this time flew, and Meta is trying to fly as well, along with the time that flew today. Honestly, I have everything set up for this 489 break. Should we get it? We'll see if we do. What a fun day today, guys. I feel like I think I learned a lot from the market, definitely giving me a little bit of whiplash and trying to learn a little bit every day. Learned a lot from everybody here, everybody in the community as well. I really appreciate everyone, you know, being patient with me, giving kind of ideas there. I think that's really important and really always, you know, trying to learn and very grateful to be a part of this community and these trades. Would love Meta to break 489 before the midday's over because I usually do not stay in trades after the midday ends. So Meta, yes, I am talking to you, girl. Do your thing, 21.
Bang.
But right now, though, the only thing we'll be doing is passing over to the big desk in about 15 seconds. We will see you tomorrow, though, for another day of trading terminology in this shortened week. But yeah, right now, I think we're all just anxiously anticipating the Meta break. Should we get it? For now, we are going to be seeing you. 15 seconds takes a really long time to fly, huh? Tomorrow, same bad time, same bad channel here in the How to Trade. Right now, Brendan is at the big desk, guys.
Hey guys, yeah, welcome in 2 o'clock on a pretty